Hello everyone, and welcome back to Classic Games Done Quick. We've got a long-time tradition for the older Games Done Quick streams that we're going to continue since this is a Classic Games Done Quick celebration of the bonus stream, where after the event ends, everybody goes to sleep, and then the next day we just do a bunch of extra games afterwards. So today we need to fix my microphone. There we go. Sorry about that. So today what we're going to do is we've got a bunch of games for you that didn't make the lineup for Classic Games Done Quick, but we think you'll enjoy. So we've got Burb here who's going to run Castlevania II for us, with JC and SBD Wolf helping on commentary. But before we get into that, we have a few quick announcements. Frame Fatale submissions are open until January 14th. You can find information on that at gamesdonequick.com/framefatale. Awesome Games Done Quick is coming up January 5th through 12th. Make sure you tune into that. And of course, tomorrow we're going to have an AGDQ promo show, or preview show, where we show one of the games that's going to be coming up at AGDQ, but a different category, just to show you a little bit of taste of what's going to be coming up. And that'll be The Last of Us at 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you tune in for that. So JC, SBD Wolf, why don't you both say hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, I'm JC.
Gonna be doing some commentary for Castlevania II: Simon's Quest. Second game in the Castlevania franchise that decided to change the formula right away and go an RPG. Which for the speedrun means that it's full of RNG. The estimate is 40 minutes, the world record is 30 minutes. There's a reason for that. And I don't know if you're gonna get to see why. I hope not, because it can be miserable. You have any
If you watch
other...
last AGDQ, you'll know why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Burb is mentioning that we might see reset in the first few seconds, but
Okay.
just to try and help with the RNG. But besides
I
that,
was gonna go for the reset.
we're gonna, hopefully get a pretty good run here from Burb. Is there anything else you want to cover about this game, like different from the other classic Castlevanias before we get started?
There's a lot of jank. We'll probably have to explain it as it goes, though.
Yep.
Okay. Well then, why don't one of you two give us a countdown and I will get ready on the timer.
Sure, I can do. I'll start from 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Go!
Go, go, go. Okay, so first 5 seconds of the game is already the first trick of the run. He's gonna probably do... Oh no, it's going for the whip jump. Okay. So this is not only a frame perfect trick, but also sub-pixel perfect. So that's why he's doing a frame perfect whip in mid-air. And that sets up his sub-pixel to be perfect to do that floor drop. It also to flip through the floor and go down the screen faster. And then he's gonna be doing some grind. He needs 13 hearts because he needs to buy holy water, which is an item that's gonna help him go much faster through the rest of the game, as well as the wet crystal, which is a quest progression item, and it's gonna turn night at around 1 minute 30 on the timer, so he actually needs to get these hearts pretty quickly, or he probably want to reset. The other route will be to actually wait on the shops, because, well, forgot to mention, when it turns night, you cannot access the shops, that's why you need to quickly. I guess Purpose is just gonna reset if it doesn't get them. That's what most people do. If you don't get the timer, you just reset the run and you lose like a minute. I guess for a marathon, you can afford a quick reset like that. Let's see what happens. I think he's getting a pretty good grind so far. What do you think?
I don't have the sound on, so I can't quite see how many hearts he's getting. But I do know he needs to. Looks like he's resetting. Yep. So, yep. If it's a bad enough grind, he's got to reset. He's got to start over. He's got to try again. Trust me, this is the faster way.
Yep. Otherwise, you're stuck waiting for 3 minutes. That's what happened at last AGDQ.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They didn't give me this option last AGDQ. They weren't so nice with me. They're being real nice with Burb over here.
Yeah, and the other bad part about waiting on the night to be over is that unlocks another type timer to the next town over, Algebra Town, and you need to get there. Yeah, you need to get there very quickly. You have like 2 seconds to spare, something like that. And if you just do a small mistake, you're waiting 3 more minutes for the second night to be done.
What was I? I was like a half second off, I think.
Yeah, pretty
right
much
in front of me.
nothing.
I was like a body length away from the guy before it turned that right there, and I'm just like, okay, we're waiting 3 more minutes. Want to read some donations? Oh, another reset.
Double
Burby's taking
reset.
another reset. And this is
Double
still
reset.
faster than waiting the first night, as long as he gets it here in the third try. Oh, looks like he's gonna be entering a password. Is he?
Password? This might be worth it. I mean, if he pops in the password, I don't know if he knows the password up from offhand. Or
okay,
I
he's gonna
know.
be trying again.
He just clicked the wrong thing on the menu there. That's no big
All right,
deal.
I see. Yeah. What was
I thought
it?
he was
Jaguar
actually
King.
gonna pop in that password. But that is an option. I mean, if you mess up the grind, you can always just reset, just for the sake of time. Pop in that password. You can start the game with Holy Water and White Crystal in your inventory and just play the game like normal without having to do this grind. It is a way I've seen done at marathons. It's one way I have done it before. I think I did it in a race with K-Mac a long time ago.
Yeah, pretty much an aim is this early part.
But if you got the stones, you're not going to use that. You're just going to go in. You're going to go into the marathon and you're going to try your best. You're just going to hope that the game's going to be nice.
Okay, looks like Burby's taking care of his lizardman.
How's this one looking? I don't have sound on, so I can't see or hear the
I think he's
hearts.
getting pretty good hearts.
Okay. They are blasting music next door, so if you can hear that, I apologize.
Cannot hear it. You're good.
Reset number 3.
Ouch.
Or is it reset number 3? I just see a black screen right now.
Yeah, this is reset number 4.
No signal.
No signal.
No signal on input. Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe it just lost the feed or something. I don't know.
I'm checking.
Unless he did reset. I'm not sure.
The stream is still going. I just don't see the capture anymore.
All right.
I think Burb can hear us, so I assume it's being worked on.
Press F for signal.
The RNG was so bad that it killed the console? Question mark?
Dude, that's what these games do, man. They're just too random.
I haven't seen Burb say anything.
That's possible, yeah. It's possible he just lost his connection completely, his internet connection.
Well, the stream is still going.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, okay.
Oh,
back to
it's back. Hi, Burb.
Welcome back, Burb.
Oh, that was a card problem.
Okay.
Well, we should see one pretty soon. On average, it doesn't take more than 5 tries. Hopefully.
Yeah. Like I remember when I was grinding this game, I never had much worse than like a 40% average clear out of this. So really, Burb's just getting some bad luck.
But you just said that we should see it soon, so you just gave us the commentator's curse.
Well, yeah, you're right.
It's to be expected, but once we see a run get out of this, we'll know. And we'll even be able to count the real clear time. All you got to do is subtract 5 minutes from the end clear time. There you go.
I mean, it's in true bonus stream fashion. We just keep going, you know?
Yep.
It must go on.
And even at like 2014, 2015, I think 2014 was the last bonus stream, but most of the tech would be gone. So we'd go from the fancy setup to just like a Yeti sitting on a table while we're doing the bonus stream.
Oh yeah, is that? Oh, okay. So that's how they must have done the. I remember watching AGDQ 2013 and 2012, and they had just like one microphone pick up everybody in the room.
Well, so
I'm guessing that's what they had.
For 2012 and 2013 and 2014, I believe there were actual like microphones up front. But yeah, they would pick up most of the room.
That's cool.
We didn't start doing the headsets until later.
Those are some real fun years. I'm sad I missed it.
It was a different feel. Like 2013, there were just 150 people at the 4-H Center, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it had that group of buddies feel, you know? It was it really just a group of buddies. It wasn't
Even though I didn't know most of the people there, you know, you left being buddies with them, you know?
Yeah.
So right now, people are asking in chat who didn't hear the intro. Burb is trying to get some good luck on these drops at the start so that he doesn't need to wait 3 minutes on the early night cycle.
If he gets good luck here, he still has a chance to even make the estimate, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But only just barely. I think he's got to do it in this shot. And even then, there's still some RNG left that could ruin the run. Hey, look at that. He's exiting the area. He's got 102.
Yep.
He's actually going to get out of the area. Yes.
Is that enough,
so
or are
proud
we
of you,
just
Burb.
rolling with it because we've gone so long?
Oh, he actually got, he did get all the hearts he needs.
Okay.
I'm not completely confident he met the timer, but I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah, okay.
Gotta
so
make
he
it to
entered
the
that
door.
That's all.
Okay, he made it to the door.
So we got a
I would
run.
have been so sad. I would have been so sad to see the prompt like right in front of the door right there.
Yeah, that was the
I've
timer
had
he was
that
trying to
happen
make,
before
right?
many
Like,
times.
get into the shop before it goes night, like right
Correct.
now. Yeah.
Yep.
It just happened, so he had about a second and a half, 2 seconds to spare there.
So
So
this is
now
probably
he
the most
can-
infamous. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, he can go on like normal now, and yeah. So right here we got. I mean, it's pretty much just some basic walking. I actually don't know how the setup is going here. Are we gonna? Do we like read off donations at certain times,
Oh, so
like the regular AGDQ?
I mean, we don't have donations for this.
Oh, my bad. I don't even. I
This-
didn't even know. I just kind of joined this. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, this is sort of just like a celebration of the start of GDQ 10 years, and you know, just bringing up a little hype for AGDQ coming up as well. So we're just showing off some classic games, you know, having some fun.
Dude, I'm batting 1,000 today. Believe me. I didn't even know it. Like, I'm just like, oh crap. How do I use Discord? I could barely even figure it out. Like, oh no, I'm in the wrong room.
It's fine. It's the genuine bonus stream experience.
Unmute my mic. Anyways, Burb is headed to another grind here. This one is not so random. He should be able to get out of this one just fine.
Yep.
This one, like maybe 1 in 1,000 times, you can have bad enough luck to not have enough hearts here. But at least it's manageable if you don't.
Yeah, and
can
even
actually
if
go
he
out
somehow
for it.
doesn't get enough hearts, it's not as punishing as the morning run. We should have no problem here. And I realize I probably should stop saying that, because that is commentator scores, as you pointed out.
Yeah, you're trying real hard.
I kind of
I'm
want
gonna-
to at this point.
I'm
I
gonna
know
say the
from
opposite. I'm gonna
198
start
HQ,
saying the
I know from January that this run can actually be like a train wreck. To this run can actually be beautiful. It can be a beautiful train wreck that everybody can enjoy. And you know, like, you can't blame the runner either. You can't blame the runner for bad hard counts. It just happens. This is just the nature of this game.
I think he already got the level up, right?
Yes, I saw the level up earlier.
So in a normal run setting, use the timing at which you get the level up as an indicator of how well you're doing the hard grind, because it's completely based off of your hearts. So it is directly related to how good you're getting the hard drops.
That is correct. He's probably got a timer up of his own, and if he uses that, he can know exactly when to go back. But he might not even have to go back. Actually, I kind of recommend in marathons to stay here until morning time comes. But what we try to do to save like 10 or so seconds is to go back, start moving before morning comes. That way you're at the door for the prompt, and it saves a few seconds there. But if you want some more hearts, and it's a bit more marathon safe to do so, you can stay there till morning and pretty much guarantee that you've got enough.
No, it looks like
he's going early. Stayed there a little bit longer, and so he started going time there. So it's going to take about 5 seconds for him to get to the door. No problem. And we're going to see another floor drop here.
And this one is a double. Or
Nope.
could have been a double.
So whenever
Okay.
whenever you reach a type of terrain that's 2 blocks above a floor, like you see at the top there, you can actually drop through it, straight through it. without having to, you know, the game basically forgets a floor is there. You just go straight through. And not only that, if there's another 4-block height right below that, you can set up a double floor drop. And it's basically double frame perfect to do so. It's not terribly awful, but it's tough to do. You gotta get 2 frame perfect windows in a row with 2 whips in order to drop through 2 floors at once like that.
Yep, that is correct.
But as Wolf explained earlier, it requires a sub-pixel value. It actually requires, well, we say sub-pixel. It's a Y value. It's a so visually what you see is Simon, you know, on the floor, but what you don't see is that he can be on the floor in 256 possible ways. And we need 4 out of those 256 possible ways to be correct and actually get through the floor. Otherwise, you'll try for a floor drop, you'll get that frame perfect whip, and you won't get it.
Do you have any ways to align yourself to the pixels you need? Because I know.
Yes. There are 4 ways to align yourself. There's stairs, which resets it back to 0 automatically, so that's really useful. There's jumping. There's jumping while whipping or throwing a sub weapon. And what's the 4th way? Oh yeah, falling.
Knockback.
Oh yeah, knockback. Oh, there's 5 ways.
5 then. Yep.
Yeah, jump, fall, knockback, stairs. And what was the 5th one?
Jump, fall, knockback, stairs,
Jump whipping.
jump whipping, and sub weapon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
5.
should be all.
It's okay. You were just quizzing me, right? You were making
you
sure I
went
was
for the
following.
different
Yeah.
jump.
Whatever. We're already batting 1,000. Let's bat another 1,000 while we're at it. Oh, so he did a jump whip there,
Yeah.
which means
This next floor drop is weird. It works on 2/3 of the sub-pixel values. There you go.
oof, he got lucky there actually because he went for the luck.
Yeah.
The lucky sub-pixel
There is
there.
a setup. So if you just whip while grounded, your sub-pixel value doesn't change. So there's actually a setup from all the way from that floor drop. Just move while never jump whipping, and that pretty much guarantees you a consistent sub-pixel.
That's right.
What it? Yeah, sorry?
This is actually intended. This is not a glitch. You're actually looking at what the designers intended for you to do. They wanted you to equip the crystal and kneel for 5 seconds. That way you can get through the ground. If you ever watched many reviews of this game on YouTube, you'll know about that already. He actually does not have enough hearts here. It's a great thing that he menued right there to check his heart count. So he knows he has to kill 1 guy in order to and get 1 heart in order to guarantee an oak stake. Did he get a
yes, he
heart
got
from
it.
those 2 skeletons?
Yeah, it's hard to notice without sound actually. But I
He
guess
needs
he got
one.
Guess he got
He needs one. I hope he got it.
Yeah, I hope so too. Or he's gonna...
Oh, no.
Oh!
He went for the all right, this is not terrible. He's got to take a minute to go back the other way. He might try it safe this time. He tried it unsafe that time. He tried to go for a really cool trick that saves 15 seconds if you get it, but
Yeah, we probably should explain this.
Yeah, what was it he was trying to do?
as fate would have it, he was trying to push himself with the purple blocks. So the moving blocks are not a common thing in this game. And so what he's got to do when he reaches those purple blocks is push up against them. When he does that, the game can't scroll. So what happens is he gets pushed all the way to the side of the screen, and then he can screen transition in a strange way. If he can get to the point of the screen where he can screen transition, and if he goes the opposite way, he's going to be teleported behind the wall to the right. And there's not supposed to be anything over to the right. So instead, it just teleports him to another mansion. And this part of the mansion actually has nothing in it. It's like not coated with enemies or anything. You'll see.
I think, yeah, this is supposed to be the last mention in the game, actually.
Yep, that's LaRue.
But if you exit to the right, it doesn't actually bring you to the rest of the mansion. It brings you outside of Robber Mansion, which is this first mansion we're going through. It's weird.
Are we going to gloss over that double drop he just did? Because that was
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah, that is double frame perfect. There you go.
That is double frame perfect. He just got that. Oh, he's going for the jumping oak stick, too. These are new strats. This began before I started. Or sorry, after I ended, I meant to say.
I believe that glitch room,
And
by
he
the
got
way, I believe that glitch room is actually a glitch word in the Japanese version. I'm not too sure.
Huh.
Yeah. So I guess that means it's supposed to be a glitch room. It's somehow pulling data from the last mention in the game that has no enemies, nothing. Oh, he actually did mention it in a cool way.
Yeah, the swag jump went backward. There's nowhere else in the game you can do that other than coming out of a mansion like that.
Those are 2 frames.
Actually, can you do that out of the merchant houses?
The merchant?
Maybe you can.
Maybe.
I never tried, so I don't know.
Me neither.
It's one of the big things.
Actually,
in this
my
game.
theory to that mansion trick right there was that every single mansion is all just one map. Like all 5 mansions are just all sharing the same map, and so they had to do something like that. But since you're entering it from the wrong direction, it only knows to code the enemies in one of those mansions.
Yeah, it's
Namely,
possible.
the one you entered from. That's just my theory. I don't know if that's true or not, but.
Okay, so right now it says into the second mansion. Well, we kind of did them backwards. That mansion was supposed to be what people normally do second. It was going to people normally do as first. So the enemies are going to take 1 hit instead of 2. And so, Igor Raptor called that cookie cutter enemy placement. And it's pretty fitting with what he has. He just kind of breezes through every single enemy.
Nice. There's that web boost there.
Nice.
What that does is it makes them skip a staircase. Staircases they're slow. They're slow. Even though that staircase moves to the left, you would think it doesn't make a difference. But stairs slow you down a lot in the sense that Simon has to move up a pixel, then left a pixel, then up a pixel, then left a pixel every other frame. So it basically slows your movement down to half. Essentially. Skip that staircase and keep going left is a bit of a time save there. This place, yeah, there's really nothing special here. You're already
there's nothing interesting
by the time you get here. It's just not even an issue. But there is a pretty cool trick here. There's a double drop here.
Yeah, later after
this one has a larger frame window, just because of lag.
Yeah, yep. So, well, within the game's logic, all those floor drops are frame perfect, but lag can make those frame perfect floor drops into 2 frame windows because both the lag frame and the normal frame work as the floor drop frame. Like it won't buffer the input, but if you just hold the button down, it will work.
A shame for that last double floor drop area. There's no enemies to create lag or anything like that. That would be great. I tried to make lag in that screen, but I couldn't do it.
I tried to throw holy water, which can create some lag, but that holy water just breaks too quickly.
Really? I actually didn't know. Well, yeah, it probably does break too quick, but then I wasn't even able to get lag with that. Maybe you got to have the screen scrolling in the process in order to do that.
Oh yeah, yeah, that can help. That can help. I just meant like in general. Holy water.
Yeah, grabbing the second orb. So the basic function of this game, the object of this game, is to grab all 5 Dracula parts that you grab from those orbs right there. We just grabbed the second one. That one was Dracula's rib. All of these have a function, kind of a function, except the ring. I don't even know what that function is. I don't even think it has one. Maybe it does.
Yeah, I think it's useless. I think it has no use.
But yeah, it's the last one. So the game's just kind of like, it doesn't need a function. It's the last one. Who cares? But the function of the rib is you can actually shield yourself. As soon as you equip it, you can block projectiles with a shield that you put in front of your body.
Yeah, it actually has some good uses.
The last one he got was a heart in the previous mansion before this one. And what that does is it allows him to cross a moat or cross a river in the right way. You talk to the same guy, and if you have the heart equipped, then it'll cross the river to the correct spot rather than the incorrect spot, which is where we're going next.
Yep. I believe somebody told me that within the game's lore, the reason why you need the heart is because the lake is cursed, and so the heart breaks the curse, something like that.
It's because of what?
It's because the lake is cursed, and so the heart breaks the curse and can allow you to actually get the lake.
Oh, that's cute. I like it. I never really, I never tried to make any of the interesting little peccadillos in this game realistic. I tried to, but not much. There's a lot of plot hole going on that I can't quite explain. Like, why do these merchants need to sell these things all the way at the bottom of the basement? You would think if they were a merchant, they would just, be out in the open, just selling stuff. It's like, hey, how do you make a living all the way down at the bottom of this cellar right here? Just sitting here. It's like, hey, would you like a chain whip? I can't believe nobody's bought it.
You're asking the difficult RPG questions, like a wandering trader in the middle of a dungeon is like an RPG classic trope.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Oh, he's going for this boost. This is new right here.
Yep. That holy water he just threw all. You probably couldn't tell it was holy water, right? He threw an holy water inside that last mountain, and that was a guaranteed crit. We haven't explained crits. Well, you'll see later on that. We're gonna explain to that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can crit enemies in this game. Kill them in one hit with the holy water, which is amazing. You can also do it with a dagger, but it takes too long to get, so we prefer not to. But you'll see it. You'll see it again coming. It'll be a lot more clear with this next crit he's about to do. But in the meantime, let's move around this dungeon. So how many lives? Has he died yet? No, he hasn't died yet. So he's at full health with full lives. He may not have to go for the marathon safe game over strat.
Yeah.
To do.
He's gonna have 2 life bars for the blood boost, the dreaded blood boost.
Oh, the dreaded blob boost. The infamous blob boost. By the way, sorry, that was my bad. I'm the guy that first started doing that. And people don't like me for that.
Yeah, the speedrun has not been the same ever since.
Yeah, taking boosts to go the opposite directions while coming off the stairs. It prevents him from, like, any time off the stairs is fine, but then any time going the opposite direction from the stairs is even better. So that one little bump he did saves, like, over a second. Just because of the left and then the right movement you got to do otherwise. Yep. So here comes another floor drop. He got it. This is devastating. You got to go back and forth and do all kinds of crazy stuff.
That one is really punishing. Yeah, the knight's gonna be trying for the death drop.
This is a fun one. Good luck, Burb.
The 3-frame window. Nice.
Got it. I like that nervous, like 6th whip we did at the top.
we're probably not making it stop. Okay, so this is the crit he's going for. So yeah,
there
okay.
We go. So that's like part 1 and 2 of the death kill.
Yeah.
That you saw there. You better explain it because there wasn't an explanation for that back when I ran the game.
Yeah, the old explanation was incorrect. Okay, so that has 128 HP. Holy Water deals 1 HP. I think he just killed it in 10 hits, something like that. So if the last active frame of any sub-weapon is incorrectly coded, and so instead of dealing the normal amount of damage, it will deal 185 HP of damage.
Oh
so that's how you can crit enemies. Yep.
That is a severe damage increase.
Yeah. You can one-shot bosses.
85. It's quite something. It's pretty swell, too.
Can I just point out that
People have known about it for a long time. It's like it's really easy to accidentally kill things in one shot that you just don't expect to die. And it's just like, wait, why did that guy die? Well, when a speedrunner sees that, he goes, wait a minute, why did he die? I'm gonna do that again. And so we did. We did, and we did that again and again and again and again until we killed all the bosses in one hit.
I like the way that the merchants phrase things, by the way. It's not, hey, do you want to buy this, but would you like to invest in this? Like,
invest.
Are we going to make money back on these purchases?
Right.
So funny thing, when I first played this game, I didn't know what an oak stick was. And so I thought it was talking about like some kind of action like
dude,
the stock market.
An oak stake was. Although, I learned eventually that you're supposed to drive a stake through Dracula's heart in order to kill Dracula or kill a vampire in general. That's supposed to be like the common lore of that. But in this case, I don't know. You use it on an orb, so it doesn't quite make sense.
Someone in chat is asking about all these blocks that Burb is walking through. Are those intended, or is that more nonsense that we're doing to the game?
Most of those are fake floors and walls. So yeah, it's nonsense that the game throws at you. It just throws you blocks that are visibly there, but are a trap. They're meant to throw you off. Just go right through that.
Me and Wolf have ran the game a long time. We forget that these are things that people haven't seen.
Yeah.
They're the basic things of the game that are like normal to a casual run. Input there. That happens every now and then.
He still hasn't taken a death, so he has 3 lines.
Nope, no death. He might have to say, well, actually, no, yeah, with this health, he doesn't have to do a pit drop at all.
No, yeah, he can.
I would take this blob personally.
Yep. That's probably what he's gonna do.
Okay, we're a few screens away from the dreaded my bad screen.
Probably just gonna let the trick talk for itself.
Yeah, if the blob is nice, then it'll just look like an easy thing. But then when the blob is not nice, you're just like, oh, this doesn't look completely random and I don't want to do it at all, ever. So this is why nobody ever runs this game.
Yep. That's totally a comment I hear people who watch this game. We'll totally run this, but then I saw the blob boost.
It's not terrible though. You get a lot of chances at it. So
yeah, he's
got this health bar and 2 more health bars to do it. Blob's gonna. Oh my goodness. Oh my.
What? Burn! He never gets this luck when he's doing PB attempts.
I know, right? It's just like, hey, Burb, you lost 7 minutes. Here's a blob boost. 7 minutes on the morning road. Here you go.
You missed the rover thing. Otherwise, I think it will be on PB based right now.
So, what just happened?
Yeah. Okay. So there's no screen coded after that. That's normally supposed to be a dead end, but you can boost onto that ledge. Yeah. That's smart.
He was gonna have to die somewhere. May as well die in a place where.
So there's not supposed to be a screen there, but we tricked the game into doing a screen transition.
And you screen transition, it basically wrong warps you to a screen on the other side of the map. So now it's going through what normally is supposed to be the last mission.
Okay.
Basically doing things out of order, and it saves a lot of time traveling.
He's gonna talk to this guy down here. This strange guy. He gives you laurels. What he does is he actually maxes out your laurels when you talk to him. So he's very useful in a speed run. It's good to take that tiny little detour there and talk to him and just skip past stuff without having to deal with it. Mostly because dealing with stuff makes it slower anyway because of the lag.
Yeah, we're also gonna be having to go through a swamp as soon as we exit mansion.
True, yeah, the swamp slows you down a little bit. Slows your walking speed to, I want to say, like 5/6 or something.
Yeah, all the damage too. Okay, this is Carmilla.
Allows you to go speed.
So, what do laurels do?
They give you invisibility.
The new car.
Yeah.
I'll let you have this one, Wolf.
Yeah, Golden Dagger stuns Carmilla, and you just kind of whip one time to stun her, just get a little bit extra damage, and then you Golden Dagger to just stun lock her. Unfortunately, you cannot get crits from Carmilla. She doesn't go down all the way. You cannot crit her with Holy Water, and even if you had Dagger, she's immune to the normal Dagger. This is the fastest kill you can do on Carmilla, unless you have a better way.
I know for a fact she's immune to Holy Water too. I tried to crit Carmilla as best I could. Then I found out that the Holy Water doesn't even touch her.
Yeah, somehow she's immune to like everything.
I feel betrayed. You said we one-shot all the bosses, and now...
Yeah? 2 out of 3 is close enough. We're gonna one-shot another boss.
Oh, I'm curious about something. How many hearts does he have?
Yeah, good concern.
Oh, wow. That's a crazy strat there. I've never seen that. That's an idea right
Me
there.
neither.
It's not good. It's slow. But hey, that
But
looks
it's,
marathon, honestly.
Normally, if you took knockback off that skeleton and the ceiling wasn't that far, that down low, you take knockback and fall all the way down.
Yeah, it's
Very
like
painful.
20-second time loss if that happens.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, you know, I think he's gonna make the estimate.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think he's actually gonna make the estimate with what is it, 5 resets on the morning grind.
Yeah.
This is amazing, man. This is just a roller coaster of a run he's got going on here.
Yeah, there's very few things that can go wrong now. Even if he takes a game over, it's not a big deal.
Death on Dracula, that could do it.
That
could
would be the worst thing, yeah. It's like a minute for that. Right, he's just making his way to last mention called Botany. Oh, his lone pal's gonna have to take a death.
Intentional death
Yeah.
there.
There's the second death.
You're gonna
of
have
the
to
run.
die somewhere. And beyond that, for marathons, I like to be full health for Dracula. I just take a death anyway.
Yeah. Dracula does a lot of damage. If it really hurts, it does like more than half the health bar at this level.
Yeah. I think they intend for you to level up like maybe to 5 or 6. There's like 6 levels, I think.
Yeah.
Excuse me, maximum.
We don't even get close here. Get to level 2.
I was gonna say, like, how far do we get in the speedrun?
Yeah, level 2. We level up 2 times. You start at level 0, and then you get to level 1, level 2 until level 6.
Is that just kill counter or?
It's an experience. You get it from hearts. So you get a heart count. Well, you get 4 hearts per medium pickup. Let's see, 2 hearts per small pickup and 6 hearts per big pickup. And with experience, you gain 1 less of all of those. So
Yeah.
1 per small, 3 per middle, and 5 per big.
Yeah. He just tried a pretty crazy floor there.
Yeah, he's gonna go for a backup here. That skeleton's gonna harass him a little bit.
So,
There.
well, there's another factor to the experience. Every screen has a value, and well, say a screen has a value of 0. That means you can only get experience if you're level 0 or lower. So once you level up to level 1, you may no longer get experience. So that's good. You have to look elsewhere to fight stronger enemies. So, for example, all the way from Berkeley Mansion to the swamp just before the Dimension Water, where he fought Death. Those screens were too low, and he was already level 2. He could not gain any experience. So all those enemies that he killed, they did not contribute to this level. And once he's here, he's aiming to skip basically all the enemies. So there's basically no chance he gets to level 3 ever. Alright, making his way out.
Alright, that's a pretty good exit there.
Yeah. He went to top of the stairs, actually.
Okay, and that's all 5 mansions out of the way. You just have to pick up 5 Dracula parts and then head to Dracula, put the parts on his altar, and then he comes back to life magically, and then you kill him again. Like, okay. I wonder what goes through Dracula's mind right there. He's just like, hey, I'm alive again, thank you. And then Simon's like, all right, time to die. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's a good game. It's a good game. I recommend this game to everybody.
Well, it really is. A lot of people talk negatively about this game, and well, it has merits because it's really cryptic. It's one of those where do I go kind of games sometimes, but it really is one of those games that once you learn more and more about it, once you learn more and more where everything is, you start to appreciate the positive aspects of the game more, the movement. It's a really satisfying game.
It is great. It's like the perfect length for me too. I love a 30-minute game. Like 30 minutes is just the magic speedrun time for me. I love it.
Yeah, and the speedrun adds onto the game too. I feel like.
It does, yeah. It adds a lot of cool elements to the game. I've always said that the second playthrough of this game and onward is the best. Like the first playthrough, yeah, you get confused a lot. You have to grind a lot, and you usually, just generally have a miserable experience. Oh, going for a deliberate pit drop there. Yes, that's a trick there to die a little faster. It respawns you in 3 seconds rather than 6.
So you took a game over there. When you take a game over, it resets all your hearts and your experience. So that's a really bad thing normally, but at this point it doesn't need hearts anymore. It doesn't need to buy anything. It doesn't need a golden dagger anymore, which is a hearts and ammo. So you just took that game over there, no problem. The kill is out. There's a little bit of extra safety for Dracula.
Once that happens, that's a great milestone in a marathon. Once you no longer have to deal with hearts, you basically don't have to deal with RNG anymore. And so it's all execution from there on out. And now we're headed to the final section. And this is kind of the hardest part of a speed run. Not the hardest part, normally, because you just walk through. There's no enemies. It's like, well, what's the danger? And then you just stun lock Dracula until he's dead. Well, in a speed run, it's a little different. He actually is going to make this estimate, isn't he? I was joking. I was totally joking, but he's actually going to make this estimate if he kills Dracula here. He's going to go for a double crit on Dracula.
Okay.
Aww.
Yeah,
he pulled it.
That was an attempted double drop, right?
So right
not
there.
A double drop, a quad drop.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, one right there. There's.
You can change 4 floors.
Oh, he's going for this.
And you can go straight to the screen transition to Dracula. It's gonna have to take the long way around. There's a really cool one. 2 of those floor drops are 2-frame windows, so it's not as hard as it sounds. But yeah, it's still 4 really precise floor drops in a row.
Yeah, one pixel perfect, 1 frame perfect, and 2 2-frame windows.
Yes, that's correct. All right, and Dracula gonna have to go for a crit.
All right, he's got to get 2 crits here because Dracula has more than 185 health. So here goes. Got on the pixel.
So actually, I like is that 2-shot at best. Oh, he got hit.
Oh no! No! Rip the estimate. F for the estimate. It's F-timate.
Well, it's my fault. I started the commentator's course.
Like I said, beautiful train wreck. It wound up being not too much of a disaster, and it was entertaining. That's what Castlevania 2 is all about, man.
Those are the best marathon runs. The ones where stuff goes bad, but not too much goes bad, and it's still entertaining,
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't go too good because then it's boring, and then it's like you can't pick on the runner a little bit. You gotta have something to pick on.
I didn't mean it like that. I just meant it. You get to see some backup strats, get to see some fancy stuff.
That's what I'm thinking anyway. All right, second try on Dracula. Let's see if he gets something. I don't know what he's gonna go for. He might one of these times go for the 60 whip kill instead, which is a little easier.
Yeah, just a little, still precise too. Okay, it's gonna be going for the.
That's not the right pixel, is it?
Yeah, no, it isn't. Oh, he's going for
the burb pixel.
Nice.
Oh, he went for that. Okay.
Is that time?
Yeah, that's time. That's time.
Oh,
that's
time. Nobody said anything, and I was like,
Yeah, no. I was distracted by the burb pixel.
We wait until we lose control of Simon. There's still a couple seconds after Drac died.
Okay.
All right, GG Burb. Congratulations.
Yeah, GG.
Yeah.
That was faster than your AGDQ run.
Nah. See, now we are picking on the runners.
And that was with how many estimates? Or how many resets?
5.
Like 5.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Well, thank you so much.
Not mattering in the end,
Thank you so much, JC and SBD Wolf here for giving us some great commentary. And Burb,
no problem.
for doing the run.
Yeah.
Burb is telling us that on his timer it was roughly 34:30 after the resets.
That's nice.
Cool. Hey, that's a good time for a marathon. 34th. Wow.
But we're going to continue our bonus stream here, so we're going to just switch on over to a break, get ready for the next runner. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because it's a bonus stream, so you just have to tune in, stay tuned, and find out. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the next run.
Okay.
It would help if I mute my microphone. There we go. Welcome back, everyone. We've got the next game here. It's going to be S.O.S. by Molotov. And if you're just tuning in, we just finished our Classic Games Done Quick replay over the weekend, where we did the entire schedule of Classic Games Done Quick. Again, with new and returning runners. And one of the old traditions of the Games Done Quick events and the earlier ones was the bonus stream. So we've got a bunch of games that didn't make it into Classic Games Done Quick that we think you'll enjoy. So next up, we're just going to do this SOS run with Molotov. And why don't you give us a quick intro on this game, Molotov?
Sure. This was originally supposed to be a Classic Games Done Quick, and it was cut for time reasons. It's essentially Titanic for the Super Nintendo. You're on a ship that is caught in bad weather. Tidal wave hits, starts to sink the ship. You have 60 minutes to escape, and you should probably do that. This is the any percent category. You can go around and rescue a bunch of people and be a good person, get a better ending, things like that. But this is any percent, so you're only looking out for yourself, and you're going to escape by yourself. You can play as any one of 4 characters. They all play the same. They jump the same height, they move the same speed, things like that. But they all start in different points of the ship. And so some starting points are better than others. The 4 characters are Capper Swisher, Redwin Gardner, Luke Hines, and Jeffrey Howell. If this run had appeared in Classic Games Done Quick, as originally scheduled, you would have seen a Jeffrey Howell run, because he was believed to be the fastest character available for about 10 years. Until recently, Skinomars, the world record holder, did a run with Redwin, and confirmed that Redwin is definitely the fastest character because of where he appears. I'm ready to go if you are, so you want me to just give you a countdown?
Yeah, I'm ready. Give me the countdown. Sorry, I was muted because I was doing some adjustments. Yes, I'm ready when you are.
Okay. I'm ready to begin in 3, 2, 1, go. So, Redwin Gardner is a pastor traveling with a lady and her 2 small children and her nephew. I don't know the lady's name, but her children are Stella Adams and Harry Adams. Don't get attached to them. You will not see them anymore. I'm going to leave them to their fate because I'm a terrible person, and so is Redwin. Jack Hamilton you won't see at all. You would only see him in a better ending run. He's way off on the ship somewhere. Right now, the boat is not sinking. Everything's great. Storm hasn't hit. But in about a minute or so, the boat is going to start to shake. The weather's going to pick up, and a huge tidal wave will hit the ship. Right now, I could go and explore, talk to people, things like that. But doing any of those things would delay the timer to begin basically the meat of the game. So it's not good for a speedrun. This door that I'm standing in front of leads to where I want to go, leads to the internals of the ship. But the door is locked until the ship gets hit with the tidal wave. And then, of course, the door magically unlocks. So once the boat turns over, a hidden timer begins. And when that timer runs out, the boat will begin to shake again. And after it starts to shake, it will turn clockwise or counterclockwise in like about 45-degree increments. And that's important because right now, when the boat is 180 degrees, I can climb walls that have handholds, like ladders and such, but I can't climb. And I need to go through the ship's internals to reach the boiler room, which is my ultimate destination. So once the boat turns a little, the walls will be slanted and I can climb from there. Boat to turn counterclockwise because jumping downhill is the fastest form of movement. And if it turns clockwise is all right. Okay, we have good luck here. If you're going for a PB or a world record attempt, most of your resets will be in that first turn, because the timer that starts once the tidal wave hits, the timer duration is random, and you need the boat to turn pretty much right as you hit that point, so there's no downtime at all. So you be prepared to reset a lot. The note is that depending on what part of the ship you're in, when the boat is shaking, debris can fall down, like say falling chairs and so forth. If you get hit by a falling chair, you will die. Death in this game is not a game over death. It just causes you to respawn on the spot, and you'll lose 5 minutes of game time. Not important here, but it actually is fairly useful to abuse that in, say, a best ending run where certain events in the game only occur once a certain amount of game time has passed. Upcoming next is the final room of the game, which is the boiler room. Once you enter the boiler room, you can't leave. And the gimmick here is that Mabel and will eventually explode and rain fire down on you. Quite obviously, you don't want to be hit by that. But more importantly, because this is a speedrun, thing is more useful for determining your pace through this room. First, the room will fog up like you see, and then the lights will go out and it will get very, very dark. Shortly after it gets dark, the boiler will explode. You can escape before the boiler explodes, and if you do so, that's a good indicator that you're on a good pace. So time will be coming up fairly shortly. As I enter this door. Time. So because I didn't rescue anybody, and I got a bad ending, Redwin is going to grab a pipe and attempt to escape from the ship, and he's going to fail miserably and die. So, rip Redwin. That's probably fair considering he abandoned small children. The ending sequence is fairly short as well, and pretty much just says the ship sunk in 6 hours, or less than 6 hours, because of enormous waves, and 2,300 people, including the crew, all died. It's very sad. If you bother to rescue people and get better endings, you get stuff like, say, Redwin in his best ending. He saves the 2 children and the nephew and some other people, and there's a happy moment where it shows him in a family photo with the kids, knowing that, they're safe, they're going to grow up. He did his job. Redwood didn't do his job. Also, just one fun fact for you before this awesome credits music is that the reason that you see this game at all in Classic Games Done Quick is I played the original Clock Tower for Super Nintendo. I really liked that game, and I really liked the soundtrack for that game. And so I thought, well, what other work did that composer do? And came across this game, played it a bit, and liked the game, liked the music as well. Thought, hey, this is a pretty short and quick speed run. Why don't I pitch it to Classic Games Done Quick for a marathon? Rest is history.
So now we're just listening to this nice music here. Thank you so much, Maltov.
Sure. Yeah, normally, it doesn't matter for timing purposes, but you can find out your game time at the end of this once it shows the the end screen. Fun fact, because of the way the game works, it lags every other frame. And you can, if you're playing as, say, Jeffrey or Luke, because of their routes, they're so quick to the pipe rooms that you saw Redwin go through towards the beginning. Take an intentional death, just climb up the ladder and drop off of it and take fall damage. And it actually saves time to take a death and just sit there for a long period of time on the penalty screen, because the timer that says when the boat should turn advances at full speed rather than half speed on that screen. So their game time would be skewed compared to other characters.
And I guess that really messes with points where you really need the boat to turn.
Well, all that matters for an 90% run is when the boat turns the first time. And so you just need it to happen as soon as possible. And so by taking the death, you eliminate half of the lag frames that would normally occur.
That's interesting.
It's just the most bizarre strategy that taking a death and just sitting there and not even touching the controller is faster than doing
That's really
anything
cool
else.
Though. Alright, so let's...
So I'm glad you guys gave me the opportunity to do this. I hope you enjoyed watching this. And up next is TMNT 2 with Scavenger 216. I hope you enjoy watching that run as well.
Like Molotov said, next game is coming up. You spoiled it, but it's okay. We'll keep the next one secret.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't. Oh, that's right. We're on secrecy.
You got the spoiler.
Shoot.
Savor it. You're not gonna find out the other games, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Yeah, it's just faster in general. How's it going, everybody? Oh, we might have lost a uranium anchor.
Nope, sorry, I'm here. I'm here. But my headset was on mute for some reason.
I can jump right in. It can all be explained during the run. There's a lot of just mindless enemy killing that we can go over that kind of stuff. All right, I'm going to be starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
And I was muted that entire time. Hi, everyone. This is a traditional
nice.
bonus stream experience with clown shoes up technology stuff going on because I'm very tired from the weekend.
Realcoon was talking to us. I swear we are not crazy.
No, I can vouch for Scav's not craziness.
Yeah, this
Or at least not that kind.
this sort of thing would always be what happened during bonus stream. We barely had all the tech working. Stuff would be breaking. So that's my excuse.
I mean,
Still
I've
do
had,
spawns.
yeah. I mean, I've had runs where I was muted for the first 30 seconds, so.
It happens. Such is the nature of live broadcasting. Mistakes happen.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, since I think it was Railcoon who mentioned it, if nobody noticed, this is the Japanese version, which has a couple of differences. One big thing is that the jump kick does more damage in the Japanese version compared to the US version. In the US version, the special attack is slightly more powerful than a jump kick, but in the Japanese version, they do the same damage. The score system works a little bit differently, although I don't think that actually matters. I'm pretty sure it's just a display thing.
All it really accounts for is you end up with 1 extra life by the end of the run.
Yeah, okay. So pretty minor difference.
Yeah. Really, all it is with that is you get 1 point per enemy kill in the US version. This, different enemy types give different point amounts.
Yeah.
And it just leans towards giving you 1-ups a little bit earlier. Alright, so I'm going to try to set up a AI manipulation for this boss. Hopefully I get it. It's pixel perfect and pretty finicky. Alright, we should be good. Nice. So I'm standing at a specific horizontal distance to where he's attempting to kick at me, but he can't actually, get the kick off in time. If I was any closer, he would kick me before I can hit him. If I'm any further, he would shoot at me and knock me back. It's so much faster than just trying to fight him straight up. Another difference in the Japanese version is there's just less enemies in general. Every wave has fewer enemies, so a wave that would have 5 in the NES version has 3 in the Japanese version.
And one critical important difference is that I'm pretty sure the billboards in this stage say something different.
Oh yeah, in the US there are Pizza Hut advertisements. In this one, they promote illegal turtle racing. And there's not a whole lot going on in this stage, just trying to clear out the enemies as fast as I can. Unfortunately, where the enemies spawn on screen is totally random. So depending on what patterns they want to give me, it can lead to some pretty big time discrepancies throughout stages. I've been getting pretty good spawn RNG so far this run, honestly.
Can you think of any spots in particular that can swing harder than any others, or is it pretty much the same the whole way through?
Yeah, any wave that has enemies running from off screen, it's random. Whether they're going to come in high or low or on the left or right. The more enemies that come top right for me, the faster it is usually. Okay, we're coming up on Bebop in a second. I'm going to try to set up another AI loop on this boss. This one's a little bit more forgiving than Rocksteady, though. Alright, cool. Alright, good fight. This run's going surprisingly well so far. Another example of less enemies in the Japanese version. These Mauser waves are 8 Mausers in the US version and 5 in this version.
Yeah, they're not hard to deal with at all. They're just like, oh, you just wait for them to come out, and then you smack them and they're dead.
Yep, one special takes care of them. And if you happen to like slip your thumb and accidentally do a regular attack, it just knocks them behind you. You can just turn around and do another regular attack and kill it before it can latch onto you and become a problem. These Mausers actually do really huge damage once they grab onto you.
I will say, as a kid playing this version for the first time, I was extremely disappointed that the gate doesn't crush enemies in this stage like it does in the arcade version.
Yeah. It's not fair because it definitely will crush you.
1 star. Bad port, 1 star.
UA jokes. This is actually a pretty impressive port.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad they like it's got the 2 extra stages. I don't remember if any of the bosses are significantly different in the stages that are the same.
There's a couple different bosses, yeah. You fight Bebop and Rocksteady at the same time towards the end of the game in the arcade version, if I remember right. That's
yeah, it's like right before. It's right before Krang and Shredder, right? Or am I thinking of something else?
Not a good fight so far.
Was this one random or?
Yeah, which directions he wants to fly is pretty random. Should only. There we go. Okay, got him. That was kind of an awful fight, but good enough. Yeah, I mean, obviously, graphically, it's a huge downgrade from the arcade version, but it captures the gameplay really, really well.
Yeah.
It's every bit as fun and really doesn't feel all that different from a gameplay standpoint. It's mostly just the huge graphical downgrade.
Yeah. So this is one of the stages that's not in the arcade version. This is completely new. And honestly, it doesn't really fit in with the rest of the, plot, I guess you could call it. But
yeah.
Hey, whatever. Plays fine.
Hopefully the snowmen want to be kind. Ooh. Nice. It's actually really good RNG.
So I don't know if we talked about it yet, but somebody in chat was asking if the turtle choice makes any difference at all.
So all the turtles do the exact same damage. The only real differences are Raphael's hitbox, for whatever reason, extends 1 pixel further forward than all the other turtles, and Donatello's extends 1 pixel backwards further than the rest of the characters.
So you mean Donatello was harder to hit?
No, as far as when they're attacking.
Oh, they're attacking hitbox, okay.
Yeah. So Raphael has 1 pixel further of a reach. Donatello has the same reach as the other 3 turtles besides Raphael, but his also extends 1 pixel further backwards behind him.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah. Okay,
so I can. You might have noticed a couple times I've stood on the edge of the screen and hit enemies as they were running in and knocked them in front of me. That's very much a Donatello thing because of that extra pixel. But the extra pixel Raphael has makes some of the boss setups a bit easier. So it's kind of like which one you prefer in terms of Donatello or Raphael. Most speedrunners go with Raphael.
Well, it sounds like it would matter more like which you're better. If as long as you're good enough at setting up the boss boss setups, and it doesn't really matter too much.
I dropped it. This boss is kind of a pain in the butt. It's a really hard input pattern to keep going consistently.
Well, it's a rhythm, right?
Yeah. Fail. Alright, come on. It's okay, I can't keep it going for some reason. The important thing is that I don't die. Okay. Sloppy, but I'll take it, I guess. The problem is you have to be super fast and deliberate with it, or it's too slow to keep him going back and forth, and if you try to go too fast, it ends up not jumping when you hit the ground, so you just do a regular attack and it breaks the loop, and then you have to set him back up into it. It's not too hard to get him back into it, it's just time-consuming, unfortunately. But not bad. Would still be faster than trying to fight him straight up for sure. He likes to punch you all over the stage.
It's kind of funny because that strat is basically how everybody beat the bosses as a kid anyway.
Jump kicking.
Yeah, just jump kicking nonstop.
Maybe not the looping, but yeah.
Well, I mean, as a kid, you don't know any better. You don't know that looping exists. You're just doing what seems to work.
Yeah. I was really, really terrible at this game as a kid. I could barely beat it even using the extra lives code. It's actually part of the reason I started speedrunning it. A lot of the games I've picked up as speedruns are games that just I couldn't play well as a kid, that just brutalized me. I kind of wanted to like
get revenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there have been a couple of games I thought about doing that too, but then when I actually played them, it's like, oh yeah, this game sucks. I will not play this.
Fair enough.
Like, wow, what was the name of it? Not Violent Secret Castle, because that game was actually good. There's some other game with a similar title.
Okay, we're coming up on the boss shortly, after another wave or two. It's gonna be the second version of Baxter Stockman. As with most bosses, there's a loop. It's just I gotta hit him at a certain point in his firing animation so that he fires straight down and I'm standing between his shots. If I go too early, he'll shoot horizontally and hit me. If I go too late, he shoots diagonally and hits me. Alright. Good fight. Interesting fact about this cutscene in both the NES version and the arcade version. If you're playing a multiplayer game, which turtle gets the kiss from April is actually dependent on who has the highest score at the time. This is another one of the stages added to the NES version. It's a pretty generic stage, just this bridge setting. Monotonous enemy spawns. Fail.
I was trying to get him in the stun lock and couldn't quite get it.
Yeah, that's the hardest group of roadkill Rod needs to get into a group and attack in the game. Still went pretty fast, all things considered. I was able to recover from it and get the other two stragglers grouped up. Those enemies are very much manipulable. Where they go on the screen is dependent on your movement. That's unfortunate that I got hit by a bomb. Those things do a lot of damage.
Some irresponsible person left a giant tire in the middle of the road.
Yeah. If we're using the foot soldiers for scale, that is definitely a huge tire.
Yeah, is that even road legal?
Probably not. Oh, this is bad. Really do not want to die here. Alright. That was slow, but didn't die at least. These helicopters can be a pain, case in point. Now it's too high for me to get into the attack loop. Come on.
Nah, he knows better. You're trying to put on a live show. He's gonna ruin it for you.
Indeed. Yeah, that second one is how they're supposed to go. You jump kick in, stun it when it's low, and then you can just keep throwing specials into its backside and take it out in 5 hits, as opposed to many, many more if you just use regular attacks. Kind of messed up the timing there. It's okay. Not too big of a time loss. Now we're gonna get scooped up in the van, and for no reason, the highway is just gonna end.
Yeah, who's driving the van? They need their license revoked.
I mean, watching the cartoons, usually it's Donatello driving the van, so that would explain.
Yeah, so clearly nobody's driving the van right
Yeah,
now because
yeah.
he just got into it.
Exactly.
He was ghost riding the whip that entire time.
Which is pretty impressive, really, when you think about it. Much like the sewer, the Mauser waves are 5 Mausers in this stage as well. This is the last stage we'll be seeing Mausers in, unfortunately. We will be seeing a new enemy type, though, later in the stage. Nothing too noteworthy at this point in this level, just trying to stay up top when possible to avoid these lasers. Those spear enemies are really annoying. Alright, I have no idea what these things are called, but hooray, new enemies. The idea is to kill them as soon as their hitbox becomes active. Otherwise, they can become really annoying really fast. They just shoot these really hard to dodge ripple lasers at you. Sometimes RNG gives you a bad spawn pattern where you can't possibly get to them fast enough.
I was gonna call them Death Roombas, and then they sprouted legs, so I don't know.
Death Roomba works though. I like it. Not quite sure what these things are called either. All I know is I'm doing an awful job of clearing them.
Those are clearly bug bots.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you can't actually hit them until they've done their little spread out pattern.
Yeah, they have to be like moving horizontally in some way to be damageable. So that initial flying straight down, you just gotta kind of wait on them. Nice catch.
He just wanted to give you a hug.
That was... I can't even be mad about that. That was well played on his part. Alright, hopefully he lets me do the thing. Alright. You can sometimes get him into a pattern where you can hit him with 3 specials and jump and dodge his attack. But it's like seemingly random whether he wants to let you do that or not. Sometimes he'll just instantly smack you for no reason. But it's worth at least trying to do because even getting it only half the time prevents you from dying, which is really slow on that boss because it respawns you in the center of the room. You have to go back to the top left. I wouldn't say this is an auto-scroller game.
No, definitely. There's plenty of chances to speed it up. I wouldn't call it an auto-scroller at all.
Yeah, it's just seems like pretty traditional brawler.
I mean, honestly, like Super C is more of an auto-scroller than this.
Yeah. And a lot of brawlers, especially the older ones, have a lot of hidden tech to them. Like, I don't know how much in this one because I haven't seen you do it too much, but sometimes you can get the screen to scroll early, or just keep going and scroll certain enemies off the screen so you don't have to fight them. Like, there's a lot of tech usually available in these games.
Yeah, I don't think this one has anything like that, unfortunately. I think you pretty much have to kill everything.
Yeah, most of the tech in this is just getting faster at clearing out enemy waves, hoping for better enemy spawns, and a lot of the tech is really in the boss fights more than anything.
Yeah. And since I don't think we mentioned it, this is another stage that's exclusive to the NES version. Normally he'd be in the Technodrome. Or on the arcade version, he'd be in the Technodrome now.
And this stage actually has the worst RNG. Wow, that was a nice spawn. But yeah, this stage has the worst RNG moment in the entire run. The Shogun fight is really nasty. His head pops off based on RNG, and I'm hoping he keeps his head on the whole fight. If not, it's going to slow us down quite a bit. Because then you have to spend a lot of time not getting hit by the head to be able to actually hit the boss.
Yeah, so this stage has at least 2 enemies that are like that are specific to it. These tigers and then those kind of hunched over purple guys.
Ninjas.
Yeah, they look kind of like the boss from Ninja Gaiden, actually.
Yeah. For some reason, as a kid, I always called them Wolverines because they had claw hands. But
I mean, that fits.
3 enemies actually, because these annoying scorpions.
Oh yeah, almost forgot
These are
that.
nice. All right. Oh, that's not good though. This one's gonna be slow. It's fine. The scorpions are by far the most annoying enemy in the entire game. TMNT 3. That's actually a pretty interesting speedrun as well. That one actually requires switching turtles on the fly because they all have different specials that some are more useful on certain bosses than others and stuff.
Yeah, I think
That one has a lot of tech.
Yeah, you end up spending most of the game at like no health too because you're constantly using your specials to kill things. So you're constantly like 1 hit away from death.
That game, you actually lose health every time you do your special. This one, you don't lose any health for doing a special, thankfully.
Yeah. Well, the specials also do a lot more damage in TMNT 3, if I remember correctly.
Wow, worst possible RNG. The game knows.
Wow, his head immediately came off.
Yeah, that was near instant.
If you
So
got it
we're
in one
definitely
hit.
taking a death in this fight.
And then the head
Fuck.
keeps comboing you.
The run was going really well up until this point, so it was bound to happen. This head came right off again. Like, worst possible RNG back to back.
He is having none of it.
Man. I think that was the first death of the run, actually.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. You came close a couple times, but I think that was the first time he actually died.
I assume if you have enough lives, it's just faster just to keep wailing on him anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you have him hit you into the corner so you take, like, almost no time loss from being hit. And if his head never pops off, you can just sit there and spam him. Usually you'll kill him before he kills you. But if his head decides to come off, it complicates things. This is the final stage of the game, the Technodrome. It's a fairly long stage.
Does the Technodrome appear in every NES, SNES, TMNT game?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I believe so as well.
I don't think the Technodrome was in the arcade version of 4, but that's not the... That wasn't the SNES version, so I don't know if that counts or not.
But most people play the SNES version.
Yeah.
Good spawns from these enemies. Still don't know what to call them. Wow. And as soon as I say something, it gives me 2 bats.
Oh, that hitbox on that bullet was real strong. I thought you got in over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hitboxes in this game can get pretty brutal.
They're pretty inconsistent, too. There's a lot of just weirdness to them. Unexplained weirdness. Go for a quick elevator ride.
Seems like one of those games where if you made a hitbox to record, it'd just be a lot of, what? Really? That's what that looks like?
I would actually be curious to do that now that you mention it, because that's exactly how it would be. Gonna just save that pizza until after this wave.
I mean, after some of the hitboxes I ran into in Super C yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that game just trolled you so bad.
Those were some strong hitboxes.
Alright, another really difficult group to get together. Nope. That's fine. That works, actually. It's not how that's supposed to go either, but at least I kept it controlled, I guess. Now the longest enemy wave in the game, right here. I've never actually sat and counted how many enemies are in this wave, but it's pretty long on the Japanese version. It's just torture on the NES version.
I'm counting. That was 11.
The one thing about playing this game multiplayer, you might think, oh, well, you can have somebody covering both sides, except then you have more spawns, so it might not end up actually working out in your favor.
Yeah, you do absolutely get more enemy spawns in multiplayer.
I think the bosses end up having more health too, so...
That actually, they do not.
Really? Or they
And you
did.
can
Maybe
do a neat piece of tech in co-op runs, actually. If both players hit an enemy with the special attack on the same frame, it does double damage.
Chat's telling
So
me
you
it was
can
12 instead of 11.
actually kill bosses way faster in co-op, provided you guys both get some same frame hits, which just naturally happens when you're spamming specials, oddly enough.
Krang has quite the mule kick.
Yeah, he's just a massive HP sponge.
I don't know, is it a mule kick if he's doing it in the front?
I don't know.
More of a kangaroo kick.
Yeah, the best strat is really just to sit here and tank his attacks.
I mean, that is why you have a bunch of extra lives.
I'm going to try to do a AI manipulation on Shredder after this fight by lining up on a certain pixel. Alright, this should be it.
Krang.
If I do this right,
Fit.
if I do this right, Shredder, the fake Shredder, will go into a loop of trying to do his instant death attack, which is a forked lightning beam. But I'll be on a pixel to where I can just harmlessly jump between it and not get hit. Go backwards. No. You're supposed to keep doing that, man. Alright, here we go. Get comfy, because we're going to be here for a couple minutes.
Yeah, but get ready on time because he is almost finished.
Yeah, time is when I lose control of Donatello. I'll call it out for you.
Alright, almost. The helmet came off.
Time.
Nice, 31:45.
Nice. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. That's a solid run.
Yeah. Thanks a bunch.
Yeah, I don't think you had too many nasty spots. I think you just got manhandled by the RNG a few times.
Yeah, I had a couple sloppy waves here and there, but overall, I'm okay with it.
It was a good showcase. Got some good stuff. You got trolled a little bit, you know, good mixture of everything for a good marathon run.
I got to show off the Rocksteady and Bebop manipulations pretty well. Shredder went reasonably well, so I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much for coming on and running Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 for us, Scav. And of course,
No problem. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to do runs for GDQ.
Yeah, thanks for letting me jump in on commentary again.
Yeah, I was going to say thanks, UA, for coming in and helping out. I was doing some tech stuff at the start, so having someone help cover the talking was very nice. But we're going to go to a break here. We've got another run coming up. We're not going to spoil this one. You'll have to stay tuned. And for those of you viewers who have been paying attention, I'm not going to be spoiling it with the music anymore, so you'll have to actually try and guess what's next. But we'll be back in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
I don't even know what it is.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here with the bonus stream for Classic Games Done Quick, and as you can see, we've got Donkey Kong Country 3. I don't know if you noticed earlier in chat, but Mike was talking about some CGDQ stuff, and apparently this one was cut from the lineup because Mike89 just really didn't want to run it. I don't know what the story was there. Maybe he was already running enough games, just didn't really want to do this one, so it wound up not making it on the schedule. So we've got it here for you today. And of course, we've got Void, who's going to run it for you, which means you're in really good hands. Why don't you say hello, Void?
Hello, and welcome. Also, I just want to add that Mike probably foresaw the future. Because, as you will see, there is a big trick in this run that makes it not as desirable to run compared to the other DKC games, but we should still have a good time. So I guess I can give you a countdown and we'll get started.
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so first things first, we're gonna skip Brinkley because we don't need to save. This is a speed run. Just need to hold B and left, and you'll leave the save cave without saving. So for the first two worlds, not a whole lot going on. I'm going to be taking a bunch of warp barrels to make it through those levels as fast as possible. There are only warp barrels in... Oops. Only warp barrels in the first two worlds. So starting from World 3. Oh my gosh. Alright. I haven't taken that warp barrel in a while. I've been focusing on a different category for this game recently, so... Alright. But yeah, starting from World 3, there will be no warp barrels. So until then, this will be the fastest way of beating those levels.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on and running this, especially since it's not the category you normally run, but we've been getting a lot of people to come in and do the runs that happened at CGDQ, or in this case, almost happened.
Yeah. Sure. I've ran this category actually earlier this year, around summer. But yeah, recently I've been focusing on another category, so yeah, trying to make sure I haven't forgotten too much about it. So yeah, for this warp barrel, you want to make sure that you're far enough to the right so that the camera pans up, so that you can enter the warp barrel and make sure the warp barrel is loaded properly. Alright. And that is World 1. So first boss coming up, Belcha. If the Belcha fight goes well, I will be able to dispatch him in 2 cycles. Pretty cool thing about that fight in general is that you really only have to bonk into him, and if you're aligned with his mouth, the beetle will drop instantly. And there you go. So World 2, this piece of tech in this level is actually pretty recent. I'm gonna attempt a zip. Alright, very nice. Make sure to go far enough to the left here. And there you go.
Oh, wow.
So the zip saves about 4 seconds. The reason why we think it works the way it works is because when you have your team throw interrupted by bouncing on an enemy, you have for a split second control of both Kongs, and during that time, if you make it so that one of the Kongs tries to get pushed off screen, this is what's gonna happen. Alright, shoutouts to Pidge01 in the chat, rolling deep. And also shoutouts to everybody watching the stream, supporting the event.
Yeah, we're having a bunch of fun, you know, reliving the past with CGDQ, getting ready for AGDQ coming up, where, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely pretty excited for this AGDQ.
This is a little bit of an early celebration of the 10th anniversary, so AGDQ will be the actual 10th anniversary. And you know we'll have a little bit of fun with it there too. But I can't say how, of course. So you'll just have to tune in.
Alright, last war barrel in the run.
So if you're interested, Mike gave a little bit more context on why Mike89 didn't want to run this game at CGDQ.
Yeah, I saw him post a lot in the chat, but I couldn't read it, unfortunately.
Yeah, apparently they really wanted somebody to run this game just to kind of complete the PKC trifecta.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't really have a runner for it. Nobody really actively ran it. And Mike89 really liked the Donkey Kong Land series. So he's like, I'll do it. And then just like grew to really dislike the game while he was running it.
I think he actually has a time in Donkey Kong Land 3. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, that was Eric. Eric is actually a pretty tough boss fight, but that fight actually went flawlessly, so that's good. And now onto the real meat and potatoes of the run. So here you have the choice of doing either Mechanos or Kamtopko first. We're gonna opt with Mechanos. For any percent, you want to do Mechanos first because it's better for Kong management. At the end of Mechanos, we'll be ending it with Solo Dixie. And also, Mechanos has harder levels. But yeah, also another thing worth mentioning, this run is on Japanese because of the trick that I mentioned earlier. You will see in due time. Grab this halfway because I don't want to die.
You mean the trick that's made this category kind of daunting?
Yeah, pretty much. Without giving too much spoilers on it, it's a frame perfect audio cue. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll see how it's gonna go. We could be there for a while.
I believe. First try every time.
Yeah, first try every time. Just like this level. This level actually went pretty well. So right there at the end, I took a damage boost with Kiddy Kong to not have to go completely to the left and do the intended strat pretty much. And so, first auto-scroller in the run. There are quite a few auto-scrollers in this game. Another reason why this category is not as exciting to run as the other Donkey Kong Country categories maybe, but and also part of the reason why the early game for this category is as slow as it is, slow paced, not necessarily like slow as in like we're not going fast, but it is slow paced. Like as you saw, the first two worlds are full of warp barrels, and here we have there's an auto scroller. And the next level is also going to be an auto-scroller. So, like, the first 10 minutes, without being, like, too difficult, are, like, really not too interesting to watch. Aside from pretty much the zip that I did in World 2, Eric, the boss fight, and the last level, Fireball Frenzy. Fireball Frenzy, pretty tough level if you're not sharp on your Donkey Kong Country 3 skills. But yeah, another scroller here. Really not a whole lot to say about this one. There's a cool strat that you can go for in 103%, but only in 103%.
Really?
Yeah, so the zip that we saw in World 2, you can do one of those around this area where I'm in right now, and it says about 10 seconds. It makes you able to go into the first bonus right away, but unfortunately it's not useful for any percent. Going into the bonus would be slower for this category.
Okay, yeah, I see why.
Yeah.
So with that previous level, is there anything you do go faster, like jumping up slopes and that sort of thing, or is it just pretty much the same speed every time?
You can dismount the rails. That will give your sled max speed in some spots, and that was actually found accidentally by Claude. He was doing aisle splits one day, and he was doing like, I think he did something random by accident in the last level, and then he golded his aisle split by, I think, like half a second. He was like, oh. So that kind of forced his hand into looking up the level and like trying to figure out why did he save so much time for seemingly no reason. And yeah, we ended up saving a second and a half from doing those strats that he found that day. Here, I'm getting rid of Kitty Kong because in the next level, you have to enter a bunch of barrels, and entering barrels in this game is actually slow if you have two Kongs, because the game needs to wait for both Kongs to be entered into the barrel, and we're gonna be entering a lot of barrels in the next level. So like you can lose maybe upwards of a second if you're entering a barrel with two Kongs compared to entering it with only one Kong. So it can add up pretty significantly.
I like the off-screen flag grab there.
Yeah, gotta grab it as soon as possible. Maybe like one of the very few pieces of tech in Ripsaw Rage. Oh, I'm glad I saw that coming. Yeah, here I grabbed Kitty. That was not intended, but a little safety ain't gonna hurt. But you might be able to see actually how slow it will be to enter some of these barrels, like this barrel, for example. So like, if I only had one Kong, I could have beat that TNT barrel. Unfortunately, I had to wait it out.
Oh yeah, especially when he's really far behind you.
Yeah.
That's really noticeable when he was that far behind.
Blue Kong's name is Kitty Kong. Alright. So Logi Labyrinth, as the name implies, it's low gravity in here, but makes you able to jump really high. Making a mistake in this level is actually ultra feels bad, man, because of the low gravity, so really gotta have to be careful here. So something I did right there, we call that a just defend. You can actually roll through those crimps while facing them. You just have to input the direction they're going towards on your D-pad right before connecting. Second half of this level is done with Quawks, the purple parrot, to not mix up with Squawks, which is the green parrot, which will make an appearance later in this run in World 6. The gimmick with Quawks is he cannot shoot eggs, but he can pick up barrels with his talons. Ooh, very nice. So you can squeeze between those two red bees and skip a pretty decent chunk of this level. You can also deboost through them, but I actually want to keep both my Kongs for the upcoming boss fight. The game would give me an extra Kong entering the boss fight, but I want to have Dixie in front as well. So Kong management is pretty important in that regard. Because this boss fight is really hard, and I haven't really done it in a while, so we'll see how it goes. Alright, first hit. You can actually do another one of those hits for the second one, but in my opinion, it's the hardest one. Alright, so far so good. I think I'm gonna swap to Kitty. And yeah, so basically for those first two hits, or like the first and the third hits that I just did, you're actually using Kitty's mechanic of when you throw him against the wall, you can afterwards jump on him and kind of ride him along. And you can get enough height to hit Chaos's head earlier than intended. Ah, dang. So here I was trying to go for a D-boost, but I probably wasn't close enough to Chaos, so I got knocked back. Unfortunately gonna lose a cycle here, but not too big of a deal. For the most part, I think this fight went pretty well, considering I haven't done it in a while. Alright, done with Mechanos. So now we're gonna go to Cotton Top Cove. Often considered the easier world between it and Mechanos. And yeah, it's done afterwards because of, like I mentioned, Kong management, and also because you want to get the harder levels out of the way first when you're doing attempts. Pretty much been the consensus. Ever since I started running this game, this world has been done, has been done after Mechanos. Also worth mentioning, this is the first water level in the run. Water physics in this game compared to the other DKC games are a bit weird in the sense that they're a lot floatier. So like making a mistake would cost me more time than if I were to not make a mistake compared to the other DKC games. It didn't go so bad. A little bit of a hit, but that's okay. This level though, I kind of consider this level the easiest level in the game. For where it's located in the run. There really isn't much to it, you just want to get into those rocket barrels. You can kind of use the fact that these ledges are slippery. Small skip here, you do a D-boost. D-boosts are actually the primary way of saving time for this run. There are a lot of damage boosts throughout the course of the speedrun. They all save varying amounts of time, and yeah, like in this level, the reason is twofold. Once again, because if you enter a barrel with only one Kong, it is faster than entering with both Kongs, and yeah, like as you saw, you can skip quite a significant portion there. Gonna grab another Kong. Team throw here, and whoop, nice. So yeah, me avoiding taking damage here makes me able to take my D-boost here instead. And that's 4-2. So the reason why you want to have only one Kong for the next level is because the next level is extremely laggy if you have both Kongs. You might still be able to see a decent amount of lag, even if I only have one Kong, especially towards the end. Even grabbing the halfway barrel is pretty laggy here, but I grabbed it as a safety. So here you can actually roll through these recoils, but I haven't done it in a while, so I'm not gonna bother. It's a pretty tough strat. It can really bite you if you're not good enough with it, not consistent enough. And even if you're consistent enough, I've seen things. Alright, so here in this level, the gimmick of this level is those horizontally moving barrels. See if I can. Ooh, very nice. So the game doesn't want to let you get that section through. Like, it doesn't want to let you through that section with only 2 barrel shots. So that was kind of a nice skip to get. Here I can take a D-boost, get into... Oh! I tried to get into that barrel, but fortunately I guess I kind of expected to not get into it, so that was a pretty good save. Here another D-boost. And now I'm back to Solo Dixie for the end of the level. Speedrun is 1 word, sir. Alright, so this level, the gimmick of this level is this fish following you. You want to feed him with other fish and not urchins. If you feed him with urchins, he's going to get really angry at you. Feed him with fish, he's going to stay happy. And as long as he stays happy, he's not going to attack you. Problem with this fish is that sometimes he decides to go off screen and respawn only once it's too late, like in this instance. So he respawned and he was purple instead of blue, so I had to feed him that fish, which was a bit out of the way, but not too big of a deal. At least I noticed it. I hit that one. I was able to hear the audio cues, so I'm not gonna have to worry too much about that one. Even if he eats that urchin, that's fine, because he's gonna eat that fish, and that's gonna put me safe for this last section. So here you might have noticed I skipped DK Barrel. That's because it is faster to do the upcoming level 5-1 with only 1 Kong. And strangely enough, this boss fight is the only boss fight in the game that does not give you a DK Barrel upon entering. Probably because the gimmick of this fight doesn't involve the boss hitting you, but it involves pushing you. These water blasts. So yeah, you wanna suck up the water from the waterfall using Ellie Strong and then spit it into Squirt's eyes. After 3 cycles, you'll be gone. So if you guys are wondering what Squirt is, I also do not know.
So I was dealing with some tech stuff. Did we miss the thing yet?
No, the thing is actually at the end of the next world.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
Just want to make sure I don't miss it.
Oh, you won't. Yeah, we're going back to Funky, giving him both skis, and he's gonna make us the aptly named Turbo Ski. And we're gonna be able to get up waterfalls and thus reach World 5. Which is a pretty cool thing about this game, the fact that the overworld, like, you have, I guess, more freedom of movement than in the other donkeys. Oh, awesome. So that's one of the risks of playing this level with only one Kong. You take damage, you die, and this level is pretty hard, so... yeah. At least it was at the beginning of the level, so not too big of a deal. The reason why you want to do it as solo Dixie is, once again, because of entering barrels. It is faster to enter a barrel with only one Kong. And in the second half of this level, there are quite a few barrels. That was close. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna grab Kitty because I'm gonna do a damage boost right there. And that's also gonna fix my Kong order for the upcoming levels of this world. DKC3's soundtrack was not made by David Wise, no. It was made by Evelyn Fisher. So another auto-scroller here. Let's look at the tech here. I'm gonna jump up and down slopes. I'm gonna save you quite a bit of time throughout this level. And not a whole lot to say about it.
Which auto-scroller is your least favorite to do in the run?
It's actually coming up in World 6. It's the longest auto-scroller. We like to call it Burn Your Rope. But we actually kind of found a way to make it less boring. We call it the Burn Your Rope update. So I'm going to be giving a Burn Your Rope update when I'll get there this run. And hopefully it will be a good Burn Your Rope update.
Alright, I'm looking forward to it now.
Yeah. Alright, so this level, you have these barrels going down waterfalls, which have pretty ridiculous hitboxes, honestly. But the real thing about this level is you can use the team throw ability to skip huge portions of this level. The biggest skip is actually coming up. That one saves about 20 seconds. Not this one. This is a smaller one. But oops. There we go. This one right here. So I'm gonna team up on this barrel. Team throw. Throw again because I didn't get enough height. And there we go. Now we can reach that ledge, which is not intended at all. And this saves about 20 seconds worth of natural route through this level. Alright, so this level now, we have to do it as a spider. And we're gonna have this target try and shoot us for the duration of this level, but it's actually completely a non-factor. The target cannot really catch up to you if you're trying to go fast in this level. The real piece of tech for this level is actually to jump in between those purple strawberry milkshake pools. There's actually no collision between them, but if you jump into them, you're going to take damage, as you saw. Alright, that went pretty well. So here I should have Solo Dixie, yep. For the next level, Lemguin Launch, which is actually my favorite level in the run. And the reason you want to be Solo Dixie, once again, is because if you have 2 Kongs in this level, it creates a ton of lag. The hitboxes of the Lemguins are peculiar, to say the least. So the fact that I only have 1 Kong kind of puts me at risk a little bit, but it should be fine. Here, doing a wiggle to set this Lemguin spawn so that I can roll through it and gain speed. I'm gonna grab the halfway for safety. This glide to slow me down just enough to roll through that Lemguin once again to gain speed. And now we're coming up on the big ending. Which I kind of took unnecessarily safely, because I remembered that I've been bitten by this cicada before. Alright, Bleak's house. This is the thing. This is the thing that makes this run super annoying. Unfortunate. So, as I die on this fight, I can press start, and if I press start on the right frame, which is an audio cue, I can skip the whole fight.
Oh.
Been late twice now.
This is a pretty long fight.
Yeah, so if you get it first try, you save about a minute over doing the fight normally. Third try, not bad at all, actually. Not bad at all. I was not doing well with it in practice, so I'm kind of happy I got third try, actually. Alright, so on to 6-1 now. This is actually a super cool level to speedrun. Lots of really nice skip with, again, our man Quawks. Take a D-boost here, and here you'll be able to see the real gimmick of Quawks, which is pick barrels up for the first time. Here I'm gonna wait this guy out. We used to D-boost through this guy, but we actually found a faster route through this level using the D-boost. As long as I can skip this guy properly, awesome. D-boost here, get another Kong, and we're able to skip through that copter using invincibility frames. Do another D-boost here, kind of stop caring about that whole section. Take another D-boost, get this invisible barrel to fix our Kong order. And here we go. Finishing the level with Solo Dixie, as intended. Baron.
That's real slick looking.
Yeah, that is an awesome level to do well. So these bears are actually a huge part of the 103% run of this game. Benny is the only one you visit in any percent because this chairlift is part of the World 6 movement. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, we're on to Burn Your Rope. So I'm gonna give the Burn Your Rope update that you guys were craving for. Small death in 5-1, which is pretty unfortunate. Third try Bleak, which is not too bad. Once again, considering I haven't done this category in a while. And a few mistakes here and there, but for the most part, this run seems to be on pretty decent pace. If I were to guess, I might still be on 48 pace, like high 48. High 48 to low 49, I want to say, is what this run is looking like so far. I don't have a timer available to me, but judging by the mistakes that I did, that's what I would say.
Okay. I was going to say, we're currently at 3350.
3350.
If that helps your burn your rope update.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I should have looked at the time at which I defeated Bleak, or rather skipped Bleak, because we did not fight at all.
Right, I believe that was your burn the rope update in the Void News
Yes,
Network.
it was. It was. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was really good.
All right, awesome.
Sounded a bit like a traffic report. It was great.
Yeah, it's pretty much like kind of a way to like recap the run, since there's nothing else to do in this level really. Like absolutely nothing. Just climb the rope and you make sure to not get hit. Oh, fun fact about these bees right there, they're actually slower on the Japanese version compared to the English version. Which made me remind of that when I saw them. Since I've been running 103 recently, 103 is done on the English version, so you kind of have to maneuver a little bit more carefully around these bees. The world record for this game is 46 minutes and 30 seconds by the seemingly unbeatable Suimine Dragon. Alright, so this level, Floodlit Fish, the gimmick of this level is it's a dark level that you can turn the lights on by hitting those gleaming gleams, I want to say they're called, but yeah, I'm not too good with the enemies' names for this game compared to the other two donkeys. Part of it is because, yeah, the 90% run is done on Japanese, so you can't really read the credits. And when I run 103, I reset on the credits, so...
Yeah. And of course, in traditional speedrun fashion, we do things in the dark, if turning on the lights is optional.
Yep, you don't turn the lights on. But this level, honestly, like, is really not that bad when it comes to, like, dark levels. Like, the levels in DKC 1, for example, are much darker than this level.
Yeah, you can still see things pretty clearly.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, at the end there, I took damage, so I'm not going to be able to go for a strat at the beginning of the next level called Air Skip. But it's okay, because that strat only really saves half a second in this category, so... We're gonna be riding Squawks. This is Squawks, so as you can see, he's green and he can shoot eggs. Oops. That's fine. No time for Handguard. This is pretty much the Animal Buddy level. You can use 4 of them through different parts of this level to help you. But only the first 2 are used. I'm gonna skip Squitter and Ellie because they're only useful for 103%. I'm gonna swap to Kitty and use one of his abilities, the Water Bounce, to get into this barrel instead of doing a team up. And alright, not too bad. The next level now, Ropey Rumpus, has a pretty huge skip that is double frame perfect, so we'll see how it goes. I have as many tries as I need to get it. Ooh, second try, very nice. So I don't know, the skip saves about 10 seconds. Pretty happy that I got it this quick. I think I was supposed to grab the DK barrel. I skip it when I play 103, but yeah, not too big of a deal. Just gonna have to do the next fight perfectly, and we should be good to go. So Barbos, Barbos, we're gonna fight with Engar, the swordfish. Barbos has 3 phases. Ooh, the screen was shaking there. That was weird. Alright, so we're gonna have to stab these urchins that he spawns so that they recoil onto these 2 purple urchins that he keeps beside him so that his shields are down pretty much. This phase is the most important phase, so let's see if I can nail this strat. He doesn't have a hitbox in the middle of his sprite, so you can actually dodge those purple urchins on each side of them and have the missiles that he spawns be redirected faster. And the last phase, pretty self-explanatory. Just hit him 3 times, and we're out. That was actually a pretty good fight.
How precise is it to get in his hitbox like that without getting hit?
You have actually a few frames of leeway. There's a pretty consistent visual cue that you use with Engard's nose and the Carl in the background. But sometimes, like, it definitely takes some getting used to, because sometimes you'll be like maybe like a pixel or 2 higher than you would like, and you'll take damage, and you'll be like, "Why did I take damage?" You'll be baffled. But yeah. Not too bad with some practice, but definitely something that can catch you off guard from time to time.
So difficulty level of tricky, probably?
Yeah, definitely. Alright, so now we're in World 7. World 7 is definitely the hardest world in this game, and also the world that has the biggest number of gimmicks. This level right there has conveyor ropes as a gimmick. You want to make sure to ride them for as long as possible to, well, go fast. And yeah, we're done. That's actually pretty good. The last section, doing it without slowing down is actually pretty tough. So I'm pretty happy that I didn't take damage. I did have Kitty, because I kind of messed up my Kong route a little bit in 6.5, but yeah, not a big deal. So Creepy Caverns. Ooh, nice spawn. This is the biggest instance of RNG in this run. So these ghost barrels have randomized spawns, and like right here, I got a vertical spawn right away, which was perfect. But you can get bad RNG and have the barrel face a diagonal and get shot into a bee if you enter the barrel by being too wasty, for example. Nice stair section. But yeah, worth noting, if I were doing attempts, I would be doing this level as Solo Dixie once again, because entering barrels with 2 Kongs is slow.
Yeah, I assume a lot of the having 2 Kongs in these levels has just been marathon safety.
Yeah, pretty much. Overall, that was actually above average RNG for this level, so I'm happy about that. But so this level, Lightning Lookout, a pretty infamous level. So you have to dodge these lightning bolts as you go along, and there's a random element to it, but you can also sort of manipulate the lightning bolts with consistent movement. You just gotta. Okay. Let's see. That's good. I got sidetracked because I needed to focus for a little bit. All right. Another good dodge. Oop. That one wasn't supposed to be there, so. There we go. I'm gonna face left a little bit, wait for the lightning to spawn above me, and my strat did not work out. For some reason, the lightning was supposed to spawn above those red bees that I was supposed to get in between. For whatever reason, the lightning, was a bit too far to the left there. So that was pretty unfortunate. Because after that section, I was pretty much home free for the rest of the level. Oh. Okay, it's fine. Alright, there we go. That's how it's supposed to look. So my guess is I waited a bit too long for the lightning to spawn above me before moving right. Alright, so Coin Dozer now. Definitely a much easier level to do with Dixie because you can sort of not care about the gimmick of this level, which is those guys who want to try as hard as possible to push you off edges. They're not gonna do so if you stand on them when they're completely vertical. Alright, pretty good level. And Poisonous Pipeline. So the purple water reverses your left and right controls. So now I have to hold left to go right and right to go left. Definitely takes some getting used to, but it's not too bad. What's bad though is trying to get this Engard barrel without taking damage. Once again, something I haven't done in a while. Tricky part coming up. Very nice. And now we're on the final boss. Final boss, Chaos returns, but he's gonna go down in 2 hits. Here I'm gonna go to his left, team throw over him when his head is going to be within his body. And that's going to trick Chaos into thinking that I'm actually on the left side, so the barrel spawns on the right side. And I can completely avoid waiting for his attack cycle. And then hit him again, and we're on to the next phase of the fight. Which is gonna be, surprise, surprise, K. Rool. This guy is a mad scientist. So he's gonna spawn these levers, which are gonna spawn barrels themselves, and we're gonna be using these barrels to knock his propeller on his back. That was pretty good RNG. So when he bounces after his first hit, the height at which he ends up after him bouncing around is RNG, and you want him to be as close as possible to the ground to save some time. Having Dixie in this fight is pretty trivial. If you don't have Dixie, though, you're in for a world of pain. Alright, so here I'm gonna try to do a strat called Task Chaos. Jump from this platform, grab this handle early, and hit K-roll with the barrel that is spawned earlier. Saves about 6 seconds. A very nice strat, albeit a bit nerve-wracking to do when you're on pace. But really not too bad. And this last phase, pretty straightforward. On the barrel. Oop. Kinda jinxed myself. Alright, gonna wait a little bit here. Spawn the barrel, hit K-roll with him. And that's it. Ooh! Alright. Once again, spoke too soon. Alright. And get ready on time. And time.
Alright. Excuse me. Alright. I don't know if you were timing it on your end, but
I was not, no.
I came up with a 49.39. Might be a second off on either direction.
Ooh, alright, awesome. I was definitely scared that I may or may not have lost the 49 on this World 7 since I took a death, and I had somewhat of a sloppy K-roll fight there at the end. But yeah, happy to have gotten a 49. So that means that this was 48 pace, like pretty comfortably 48 pace going into the last world. So that makes me happy, actually. 48 pace with third try Bleak and a not so ideal Chaos fight. Definitely happy about that for a marathon run. Nothing to complain about. Thanks everyone for the GGs. And yeah, keep enjoying the bonus stream. I think there are only a couple runs left.
Yeah, 2 more, but you'll have to stay tuned to find out what they are. And thank you so much for running this for us, Void. Absolutely.
Thanks for having me. Once again, happy to have contributed to this marathon.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And like Void said, we've got 2 more runs coming up. You'll have to stay tuned to see what they are. But we're going to take a quick break and get set up for the next one. So stay tuned.
Rolling out.
All right, everyone, and welcome back. We've got a special showcase here for you. It's Super Tennis, which is an interesting game, and many of you may be wondering how this is going to be a speed run, but we've got a special showcase, and Yelstrike is just kind of going to explain what we're going to do here, because it's a little bit unusual, but it should be a bunch of fun.
Thanks, Rokun. So yeah, did you know that Super Tennis was submitted and accepted to CGDQ, only to have the runner back out and no-show at the last minute?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either until I was informed. And in the effort to put together a complete bonus stream showcase, I was asked to provide a Super Tennis run. So I'm going to do that for you. But for those that do not know exactly how Super Tennis typically operates, I'm going to go through a very quick one-set match against a common pleb, and then I will use a password to go to the last boss, as it were, boss with big air quotes. Do some big air quotes for me in chat, which is Don J, who's hidden on an island in the Pacific, or somewhere, or like down in the just somewhere down in the southern hemisphere. And he has all the stats, every stat you could imagine, but we're gonna whoop him good too. So, you can start the timer whenever, because basically I've given 30 minutes. I need 5 minutes to show how to beat a common opponent. I need 5 minutes to input the password to get to Don J.
5 minutes?
That's only a slight exaggeration. You'll see.
Is it one of those passwords, like the MMX passwords?
Yes, it's one of those passwords. You'll see. You'll see when we get there.
So the rules are made up. The timing is arbitrary.
Yeah, and then 20 minutes to actually beat Don J. So, but it shouldn't take the full time. Either way, feel free, if you have not started the timer, feel free to go ahead and give it a shot.
I mean, I was waiting for you to finish selecting things, then I was going to start.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead. This set against Matt should probably take about, I would think, 4 minutes ish, if I can keep the ball in play. So yeah, so with your common pleb percent here, you should be able to just kind of work the corners very effectively. Play really wide. Just do serve and volley, and easily handle anything an opponent has to offer. You shouldn't really get much of a return, if any, at all. As well, when returning serve, you should, at least with Brian, who is my favorite character, should be able to beat them with a pretty simple passing shot.
Are there stat differences on the different characters you can choose?
There are, yeah. So I know, shoutouts to Berlin Dude 1, who will be running Tron Evolution next week at AGDQ. He is the world record holder in every category of this game. He himself was formerly a professional tennis player. So shoutouts to him for loving virtual versions of tennis as well. But yeah, he's the one who is responsible for most of the tech in the legit speed run. I can only do some of it, so you'll see what I'm capable of against Don J when we get there. There's one bit of tech that he can do that I can't, but I can do the fun one, which is good. For the sake of a showcase, it's worthwhile to see the tech that I can do. I see a message in chat asking why does it go 15, 30, 40, why not 45? That's because they used to use a clock to keep track of people's scores during games of tennis. They wouldn't go to 45 because if it's 40 all, it goes to deuce and you have to win a game by 2 points. So they would effectively go 15, 30, 40, and then if you had the advantage, if you had won a single point off of deuce, they would move your marker from 40 to 50. And then if you won the extra point, you would win the game, and they'd move you all the way back up to 0. So, fun, real-life, historical tennis facts for you.
See, my standard answer is just because tennis is weird, but I guess that explanation works as well.
I mean, tennis is weird. Let's not let's not get out of range here. It's definitely a weird game. That is for sure. So as you can, oh hey, he chased that one down. Good job, Matt. He almost won that point.
This definitely threw me off a little bit at first, in that you're switching sides on the screen, when in modern tennis games you usually just stay on the bottom the entire time.
That's true. That is a valid point. And actually, the next time we switch, I will be sure not to skip it, because there's actually a fun little animation that happens when you switch. So here we go. And it says change court. If you let it go, it kind of goes to, like, I don't know if that's mode 70 or I'm not sure what that is, but it does this little flip. It plays a little ditty, and then poof, you're on the other side. An interesting fact that does come into play with harder matches like the one against Don J, the physics are slightly different when you're in the back half of the screen. Oh, I just let that one go right by. The physics are different from when you're in the back versus in the front. So at least when it comes to like the altitude of the ball, you don't have a dedicated button for overhead smashes. You have like a standard forehand or backhand. You have a slice. You have topspin, which I use all the time, and you have a lob. But none of them are overheads. The overhead only relates to whether the ball is high enough in the air for it to consider you applicable to fire off an overhead shot. And doing overheads from the back is a lot harder than doing it from the front, because the altitude is kind of wonky. So in the Don J matches, I have to use an alternative method than I would normally do, or than I did casually as a kid. And it's actually up to Berlin due to his strats that helped me get through this. So now we're on to the second part of the run, which is the password.
Oh my
Look at this password screen.
That is a ridiculous password.
So here we go. I will tell you right now, I can only memorize short strings of this at a time. I cannot remember the whole thing at a stretch. I've tried, but clearly I'm not trying hard enough. But
I would say this is a step beyond MMX passwords. I think we have reached a stage beyond.
So this is a password that I did not look this one up on GameFAQ. I earned this one myself by playing through the circuit mode to unlock the match against Don J.
Chat is a big fan of this password screen so far.
Excellent. I'm glad we're getting some mileage out of this. So, as you can see, it's clearly not taking me 5 minutes to fill this out. But the one funny quirk about this is that it leaves the last 4 characters blank. So this is the complete password.
What?
Yeah, it uses 52, not 56. And now we're in a 5-set exhibition match against Don J, whose stats, he has all the stats. Every single one. You'll see him start moving around like crazy because he's super duper fast. So I'll use, for the first part of this game, I'll try to use the same serve strats that I used before, and you can see that he easily chases everything down. So you have to use alternative methods for beating him.
Oh my god, he's zooming.
Top spins. Oh yeah, like doing 2 top spins in a row, that sort of thing. 2 top spins in a row was the technique that I learned I figured out as a kid to try to get it. You got to get it over his head. So the tech that Berlin discovered, and it works for pretty much all players here. But this one for right-handed players, you hold R, and then you mash A. So I'm gonna hold R and mash A, and it's gonna go through his legs. I don't know why this works.
What?
I don't know how he found it, but essentially this is a huge time-saving tech for speedruns that involve playing against Don J, because effectively half of the games you have to win are now automatic, and all you have to do is win on his serve, which for me is very difficult because, like I said, I'm a topspin junkie in this game, and using topspin from the backcourt does not work very well. Just because he's so good at chasing things down, and because of that altitude issue, so often you try to do a smash when you don't want to, and then you just fail horribly. So Berlin taught me lob strats, which I am not executing properly. This service game, when he's serving to me from this direction, is the one that I expect to lose at least once. But that's okay. We'll make do. Yeah, he's so overpowered that usually over the course of even just a 3-set match against him, he'll double fault like 6 or 7 times. So every now and again, he's just going to give me free points as well. I don't think he's given me one yet, but he's gotten close.
Yeah, I haven't seen a double fault yet.
I would love one right now.
Just beamed that poor line referee, though.
Yeah. Alright, so we fought back to deuce. Like, I had honest to goodness attempts at this game where I would, if I went down love 30 in a game, I would just let him finish this game off because it would take forever to win this many points back. So it's not good for the speedrun to go into deuce ever. And yet here we are.
Honestly wondering, like, if it wasn't for the fact that he faults so frequently, it might have been even just try to win one of his service games and then just tank. The rest of them could have potentially been faster, but with him faulting this frequently, it probably isn't.
Yeah, and that ends up being the thing that Berlin, who is much more effective from this position than I am, as I mash my way through this next game here. Let me start mashing. His major time losses when he's performing this Donjay percent category essentially is whenever he faults or double faults, because it's just so much faster for him to just win the point outright.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants as many first serves in as he can get. Whereas for me, I'm just lucky to actually go 6 love, 6 love, 6 love. So now that I'm up front here, I'm going to go with my preferred method of topspin because I refuse to assimilate. This is one of the risks and problems that I run into speedrunning games that I actually felt I was good at as a kid, was that I refused to change strategies in certain cases to my own detriment. And this is one of those cases because it can go relatively quickly. There's one double fault for me. It can go relatively quickly returning with topspin cross court. But I can also lose a heck of a lot of points very quickly if he just chooses to do a different thing than I'm expecting him to do. So the lob strats would still make the most sense. I just refuse to do it. Because I'm weird.
Just giving me, like, Chrono Trigger vibes, but Yelsrick refused to change.
And if you don't mash perfectly, you saw on that love serve in the on the love service court, he actually did return it in play. So it's a pretty tight window. It's not free, as it were, to simply just mash A. You have to mash it pretty well, pretty accurately to get the timing right. And if you don't, then you may actually have to win the point.
So is it more of a rhythm than just mashing at a really high speed?
It probably is, but I feel the same way about like River City Ransom. Like some of the boss fights went from Fiesel's run back on Friday. Some of the boss fights, there probably is a good rhythm to the fight, but I'll never know because I just try to mash my way through it, and I'm a horrible masher. So, I just like kept trying till I got lucky.
I know a few runners where they don't really have the best mashing, but the limits of their mashing just times out well to the rhythm that you need. So they just mash as best as they can, and that just works.
That feels very much like a TMR Contra sort of scenario, where like his mashing, like he just regularly mashes at about like nine inputs per second, which is working out fine for spread rhythm sometimes. So like it's like just enough. All right, so there is the first set down. Now we're going to go back to holding R and mashing A. And if you're using a left-handed player, then you hold L and mash A, and it works the same. So, fun, interesting fact about this game. I won't call it fun necessarily, because I'm sure some people don't care, but that's okay, because it's Super Tennis, and it's one of my favorite games. The any percent route of this game involves winning the circuit. The circuit is 8 tournaments, 4 minors and 4 majors, that allow you to accumulate points like a circuit does, like a tour, essentially, like a pro tour, and finishing first on the leaderboard at the end. The route for the run currently involves only entering 2 of the 8 tournaments and praying that the right combination of players enters the other 6.
Oh no.
So that the 200 points that you earn is enough to finish in first place.
So it's one of those things where you enter 2 tournaments and then you just cross your fingers and you hope, oh god, I hope that's good enough.
Yes. Or I think what we typically end up doing is maybe you'll sit out the first 3 and then you'll enter the major at the middle of the tour, and then so that way you only really commit to a single tournament up front.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you finish that one, you're just kind of keeping an eye on the standings as you go, and then you get down to the last tournament, and you're just, when you get a couple of seconds, you're like, hey, can somebody clip what the draw looked like? Because if so and so is on the opposite side of the draw, then I'm dead. So but I didn't have time to look because I had to mash through. I can't waste time.
Are the majors worth more points at least? Like,
yes, the majors are worth 100, whereas the minors are only worth 60. So the most effective route they came in was just playing 2 majors. It doesn't, like, maybe there's a chance of doing 1 major and 1 minor and only getting 60 points, but in Berlin, and I did a ton of resets just to make 200 points viable for an actual run. And both of us have only gotten it once, I think. Maybe he got it twice, I'm not sure. But yeah.
So if that's how you do the circuit, how do you unlock this fight normally?
So in order to unlock this match, you have to complete the circuit but win all 4 major tournaments. So you wouldn't be able to do an any percent run that included Don J, or rather, like that run requires more complete efforts, and not trying to kind of just like coast along and get just enough.
So is this like a thing after the final tournament, or is your final opponent in the last tournament when you do that?
Yeah, this password shows up after the credits at the end of the circuit. So you may have thought that the closing of the circuit, where you finish in first place and it shows you lugging a whole bunch of trophies home, and then your house becomes a mansion and you have 3 tennis courts in your backyard, and then the credits scroll. You might think that was the end of the game, but sure enough, it's not. We do have a long category of this. That's the longest category of this game is called 101%, because it's really weird. Essentially, the person who's in charge of the leaderboard had 100% set as complete the circuit. Maybe he didn't even know about the Don J match at the end. I'm not really sure. And then the compromise, when we mentioned that we wanted to have a run that included the Don J match, was to make it 101%. And yes, as Empty Eye is pointing out in chat, Berlin Dude and I raced 101% for the very first really, really long-a-thon. And that's my PB for that category.
Your PB was your marathon run, okay.
Yes, it was like 3 hours and 43 minutes or something like that. It was a lot of tennis. Like, this, to some folks, probably seems like a lot of tennis to be sitting through.
I think, at least with the Don J fight, or match, I keep saying fight because it's just video games. It's with the Don J match, with him zooming all over the place and returning as fast as he does. It does speed up the pace of the match a little bit compared to
it sure does.
earlier opponents. Like, I assume
yeah,
there's
so
a point where they're competent enough to return somewhat regularly, and it can drag out the length a little bit.
For sure. At least him in particular. If you don't execute the speedrun strat, essentially, then this becomes a bit of a slog. Ooh, I actually got that. I was really expecting to like, have one of those huge whiffs of a lob. And there was a question in chat about why is everything red, and also is this a SNES game? This is a SNES game, but everything is red because this is. I think they were trying to really sell that this is like just on some remote island in the South Pacific, and therefore I don't know, the sun's beating down on you the whole time, and and it makes everything red.
It also
That's
just
the
gives
closest
it
I can get.
a cartoony feel of this is the final boss.
Yeah. And the 101% thing is essentially a joke because the mod that runs the Super Tennis board has the 100% set as a category that doesn't include this guy. So we're just like 101. Why not? a little too rambunctious there. Getting ahead of myself here. But so I swear I remember winning this match as a kid, but when I first tried to play it in the speedrun format, I was like, I'm not really sure I actually won. Like, maybe I took a set off of him once, but this is really hard.
There may have been one of those things where sometimes with really hard games as a kid, I found really cheesy but long ways to beat some things. Like, you'd win eventually.
That's a fair point. Oh, that one went through his legs. Nice.
So maybe you found something like that when you were a kid.
Could be. Like, the only thing that I had from memory was the whole double topspin thing down the baseline. Or not down the baseline, but down the just down the I can't remember the name of the line. Like, effectively down the sideline, but not in like the doubles courts.
Mm-hmm.
To try to get it over his head, over his overhead smash, which has a pretty good reach. So yeah, we are winding down here. Will I choke the 6-love, 6-love, 6-love? Tune in. Well, stay tuned to find out. That's a good start.
I feel like you set yourself up for that one.
I kind of did. Oh, but he gave me a point back. Isn't he nice? He's super nice. Well, I made a mistake, and he gave me the point anyway. This is really good so far.
Yeah, I've noticed sometimes he just gives you the net gift.
Oh, pulled it. Yeah, every now and again, and I'm not necessarily sure. Like, I don't know what makes him do it. Like, that would be some next level tech to be able to coax him into doing something like that, and that's part of some of the really high end tech that Berlin can do that I can't do. Oh no. No, we're going to deuce. Oh boy.
Well, at this point, you gotta fight for the perfect match.
I do. Or maybe he'll double fault me. He'll double fault me in. Alright. Match point number 2. See if we can do this time. Boy. Yeah, baby. And that will be time. Oh. Don't worry.
I was totally ready on that time, I promise.
So that is the Super Tennis Showcase. And he laments that he must be getting old, and that's the only reason that I won.
Oh, Poor
I know.
loser.
I mean, just, very sore loser. And then if we press the B button once, then it gives us the secret command. So on the player select screen, if you have the second controller plugged in and you hit L 5 times, X once, R 7 times, and then X once again, the music changes. And then whatever character you pick has the same maxed out stats that he does.
Oh.
So you get to be Don J. And then if I hit select, I can still see my stats. So yeah, 29 aces, lost 13 points, but I didn't lose a game. We actually pulled off the 6 love, 6 love, 6 love. So I'm pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, so that was kind of our mixed showcase of Super Tennis. Just because you don't get the right context of how crazy that Don J match is without, showing off the game a little bit first.
Yeah, you gotta show how underwhelming a standard opponent is to show how overwhelming Don J appears, and certainly appeared to me as when I was 11 trying to beat him.
All right, so thank you very much, Yelsrik.
Thanks
for
so much,
that run.
Railcoon, and thanks again to Games Done Quick for letting me showcase this. So, I really appreciate it.
We have one more run to go tonight. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with our final bonus game of the night. There's been a theme of games that were cut from the marathon, didn't make it into the schedule, but they wanted to be in the schedule, and this last one's a little bit different. So look forward to it. This one, as I understand it, was never planned to be on the schedule, but was kind of popular at the event. So if you weren't at the event and you weren't among the people playing this game constantly, you won't know what it is. So you have to stay tuned, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone. We've got one more run for you today of our bonus stream for Classic Games Done Quick. So we've got Draco Dan here, who's going to be running Rocket Knight Adventures. And this is the game that apparently became very popular at AGDQ, from what I'm told. It wasn't on the schedule. It wasn't supposed to be on the schedule. It didn't get cut. But somebody brought it to the event, and a whole bunch of people were playing it, and a lot of people really fell in love with the game and started speedrunning it back then. So we managed to find a runner for you to play this game, and we're just going to close off with a Rocket Knight Adventures speedrun. So, hi, Draco Dan, why don't you give us the quick synopsis of what we can expect to see?
Absolutely, yeah. So if you've not seen this run before, what you can expect to see is some very fast-paced 2D platformer action. You know, it's a Genesis game, it's a 2D platformer, but we have jetpacks, and you can go really fast, and lots of boss fights. There's lots of platforming, lots of boss fight action. There's also some auto-scrollers, but that can be a good thing if you want a little break. This is a pretty high-octane run, so it's quite a nice mix of 2D platforming elements, in my opinion. And I'm about ready to get started when everyone else is.
Okay, I'm going to switch this over, and then we'll be good to go.
Okay, then.
Okay, I'm going to switch this over, and then we'll be good to go.
Okay, then. So I need to return to the title screen first, obviously, before starting the run, but this is a bit of a weird game in that you honestly sit on the title screen for about 2 seconds before it immediately goes to a game demo. So I'm going to exit the title screen as soon as I know we are ready to go, and I will give an immediate quick countdown. It needs to be a quick countdown or the game's just going to start for me. So, yeah, okay. That's when you know it's a speed game.
So I've been corrected. Apparently it was a later event that everybody was playing it at. for Classic Games Done Quick, people just really wanted it to be in the schedule.
Well, I'll make sure everyone's playing it at AGDQ 20 as well. I'll make it happen.
Okay, so I'm ready when you are.
Okay, I am also ready. So I'm going to just give a quick countdown. I'm going to return to the title screen. And we're going to get going in 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, Rocket Knight Adventures. This is a game that is pretty near and dear to my heart. It's also a game I haven't really ran in quite a while, but I'm nonetheless very honoured to be asked to present it for this event here. You're going to see a lot of action in this game. Lots of combat, lots of rocket boosting. The main weapon that you have in this game is the sword, as opposed to the jetpack. You'd think that with this boosting mechanic you'd use that to kill enemies a lot, but the boost itself isn't really the primary attacking mechanism in the game due to the way that damage works in this game. Unlike some of the later games in this series where damage is pretty fixed, this game tends to use a frame-based damage system. In general, the damage you inflict on enemies depends more often than not on how many frames of contact you have with them, such as with your normal sword. The physical sword deals 1 damage per frame of contact with the enemies. There's also the projectile it fires, which deals a static amount of damage, and there's also the boosts you can do, which inflict damage. The boosts don't inflict a uniform amount of damage. An orthogonal boost, aka up, down, left, right, actually inflicts more damage than a diagonal boost, so you'll almost never see me use diagonal boosts to inflict damage on mini-bosses and bosses. Mini-bosses and bosses themselves can also be of 2 types when it comes to HP. They can either require a static number of hits to kill, in which case I'll just be hitting them however I can, but then there's fights like this second phase of this mini-boss here, where they have an HP pool and you just need to deplete it. In those cases, the main form of attack I'm going to be using is the basic sword swing, because it simply deals damage per frame, and you have the projectile, which deals a constant high influx of damage, so it should hopefully be pretty good. We've got our first auto-scroll section here as well, where I can just sit in one spot, wail away, hopefully not taking with damage. My life is also looking a little tenuous here. I believe I have enough for 1 damage boost on the mini-boss that's coming up, but I'm going to try and play it pretty safe regardless. Okay, I did have enough for a damage boost. So I'll just finish him off like that. You can exploit iframes in this game extremely liberally. That's one thing that you're going to be seeing a lot. There's also some health pickups through the game, which right now I desperately need one, so I'm very grateful for this health pickup being here. Now, something that's a little weird in this game is the judgment of when to use an air boost versus a ground boost. They don't behave the same way. When you perform a boost in the air, you are locked to a single direction, and you will just continue on that direction until the boost runs out. If you perform a boost on the ground and then move off the edge of a ledge, then gravity will actually act on you and pull you down. That's exploited in certain parts of the game, and I did it just there as well. Ducking is also very useful for shortening your hitbox. Like, it's a much more pronounced effect than you might expect. It actually shortens your hitbox considerably. So, yeah, come on, dude. Alright, don't die, please. Enemies in this game are tough. Alright, I'm taking it a little slow and safe here. Alright, so even though my health looks pretty low, I am not going to take a health pickup before the boss. I'm going to really explain why that is after the boss, which I'm just going to take a bit of a minute to focus on. This is a hit-based boss, so I just need to deal some hits on it. Okay, still got the quick kill. So that's a pretty demanding boss to get a quick kill on. You need to get almost every available hit you can while he's coming out, and if you miss too many of them, there is a forced waiting sequence where he just goes into a different phase, and it's a very long attack you can't really speed up. Now, on the results screen here, you see the reason why I'm maintaining low health into the boss fights. At the end of each stage, you get a clear bonus and a life bonus. The life bonus takes longer to tick down with more health you have, so I want to end each stage with as little health as possible so the next stage starts sooner. That is a pattern you're going to be seeing throughout the whole run, that we need to play this, when it comes to the bosses, as risky as possible if we want to go fast. Thankfully, they are pretty static strats we have. They're pretty reliable strats. With, I mean, some exceptions, but we'll deal with it. It's fine. Okay, So I'm coming up on one of the most difficult fights in the game to perform quickly, this mini-boss here. I'm going to really concentrate on this and just hope I get this. Nice! That is one of the most difficult strats you can perform in the game, getting the one cycle kill on that guy before he goes anywhere near the front of the waterfall. So that's a fight that uses like a foreground and background layer. By standing on the background, you transition between the two layers, and you can only hit the boss when you're on the same layer as it. It's a pretty confusing fight, but it always starts the same way. After that, he's kind of random with where he goes. And with some very precise positioning there and exploiting damage boosting to get the right setup, then you can kill him before he enters the foreground. But it's really, really precise. You need to hit the end of his tail. The end of his tail is the only part of his entire model that takes damage there. So another auto-scroller. This is thankfully a generally much easier one. I mean, if I want to squeeze every bit of time from this, there are some like baller strats I can go for, which I am not going to be going for because I am far from baller in this game at least. It's like, man, you guys couldn't get Dagger for this event, so you had to make do with me, like the budget runner. It's a shame, but I'll do what I can.
You don't need to say it like that.
Look, it's a hard game, alright? It's a very hard game. And I'm only like 4th place on the leaderboards, I'm not that good. So, true to form, I'm going to play it super safe here at the end of this minecart. You can use the momentum to jump off, but the game is really weird about storing your momentum, and sometimes it can go really wrong. Similarly, you can use rocket boost to pass across these carts, but one of the problems with rocket boosting in this game, as opposed to the rest of the series, is that in this game, once you release a rocket boost, you have no control over Sparkster. You cannot influence him in any way. So if you have mispositioned the start of a boost and you need to hit a very precise spot, you are just going to die and there's nothing you can do about it. And that is probably the most dangerous spot in the whole game for that sort of boosting. Now I'm going to start taking some damage boosts here to try and set up for the health count I'd ideally like to have for the next boss. That looks pretty good. I can afford a couple of accidental hits here. So this boss is going to be split up into 3 phases. So the first phase, I need to get right up in his face and just wail away at him with the sword. This is going to be a big example of the sword inflicting a lot of damage. That's one of those accidental hits, that's fine. So that's really a microcosm of what you're going to see a lot of in the run with a lot of boss slaying. You just hit them in the face repeatedly with the sword and it deals much more damage than you could hope to with rocket boosting. For the second phase, I don't really believe that you can speed this phase up as long as you do it minimally fast, because the train is coming towards the front of the screen, and I believe that if I kill it before it reaches the front, you can't really speed that up, just because of the animation. As for phase 3, I need to start this facing backwards to avoid getting pushed back, and again, just wail away at the train. Hit me. Hit me again. There we go. Optimal health count. And I can stay inside his hitbox to deal maximum damage, and that's pretty much the fastest end you can get to stage 2. Tough game. Now, stage 3. This is a very movement-intensive stage. The start of stage 3 has many opportunities to just kill me outright if I make a single wrong move. The lava in this corridor is an instant kill hazard, so I'm going to take it as risky as possible, whilst not being able to see what I'm doing. Alright. I'm just going to give this... If I don't get it this time, I'm not really going to bother with this. I'll just take this a bit safer. There are periodic 1-ups through this game, so with certain sections, you have effectively infinite attempts at them, such as that one up there. But we got it second try, so it's fine. Ah, damn it. At least I got a favourable damage boost there. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Oh, can I set this up? I'm gonna try it. No, I wasn't in time. So I was trying to get a ground boost there while the water wasn't high enough so that I would immediately descend down the hallway. It probably wouldn't have saved time with the amount of time I needed to set it up, but it looks really cool. Staggering my hits here to try and get this claw out of the way quickly. Now, the reason I'm taking care of this claw is that this is a very weird boss for HP count. I need to inflict a certain amount of damage on this guy, but his HP count is influenced by his remaining claws, and if you get rid of the right claw, as I just did, for whatever reason, it cuts his current HP into a quarter of its normal value. So it doesn't require very many hits at all to finish him off from there. The hits are pretty precise though, like just firing projectiles into his face like that from the side, it's a surprisingly short pixel window, and staying in the right place is not very easy because the game keeps trying to push you upwards due to the water. Like, the game always keeps trying to make you rise in the water, so you need to fight against it, and it's difficult, and yeah, it's weird. So here I'm just going to, this isn't the optimal health count, but it's, you know, about as close to optimal as possible. I'm just going to carry this single heart into the boss fight. It's going to hopefully be a one-cycle boss affair where I need to do some dodging before it becomes vulnerable, and it's even going to give me a health pickup. I'm also going to be super safe about entering the boss arena here. You can get a slightly faster entry by jumping and boosting over that enemy, but it's very easy to do it too early, it's very easy to hit the enemy accidentally, and it's very easy to die when you do that. So I'm just going to run backwards to begin with. Now I'm going to get the health pickup and sit in a certain spot to take a specific damage boost. Alright. And now this guy comes out and you just wail on him, and then it's a pretty simple one cycle. Funny animation time? Yeah, it's one of the nice things about this game, that you get to have weird finishing animations, that it just kind of gets stuck there. Alright, so going into stage 4. How do I even describe this stage? This is probably one of my least favourite stages in the run, just because of how difficult it is. It's a really difficult stage, the airship. I'm inside the airship, then I'm on top of the airship, then I'm underneath the airship, then I'm back inside it. But there are death hazards everywhere, like instant death hazards everywhere in this stage. It's awful. I'm going to start off with a bit of a tennis match as a mini-boss fight. I've just got to fire these red balls back at this guy as he fires them at me. It's a little trickier than it seems. And I don't believe that his throw intervals are random as long as you start the fight correctly, but I messed up the start of the fight completely, so now I'm getting bad throws. You can potentially get him just throwing balls continually and you just keep serving them back basically as fast as you can hit them, but not so lucky there. So now they're on top of the airship, I've got to progress along the top here, and I'm fighting against the air current, and I really don't want to get hit by the barrels. I really, really don't like this screen. But, very good, now I've got to head back across the airship. Pretty easy to take an accidental death here, so I am just going to play this really slow and safe. As well as pick up an optional one up there. Please, God, don't kill me. I hate that screen. Alright, so it's possible to make this fight a little bit faster by taking some very risky hits by boosting into him sideways, but this guy's hitbox is a lot narrower than it seems, so I'm instead going to boost down into him as he comes fairly close to me. One more hit, which... Alright, screw the bombs, just do that normally. Alright, I am not going to attempt this strat, the Vorpal strat. Vorpal, you are cool, but this strat is beyond me. Like, I got it a bit in practice, but that means I'm not going to get it here in the run, so I just go with the Shadow Jockey strat instead. Shoutouts to both of those guys. Like, if you want to see the OG runners of this game, Vorpal, Shadow Jockey, Markuyama, Mike89, those are the guys to go to. I am a mere disciple of this game. Alright.
I feel like Vorpal's just the OG runner of a lot of games.
That's, I mean, yeah. And he is a very cool guy. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break here. We've got the boss fight, there's multiple phases. For this phase, it's better if I do absolutely nothing. Because you get all this junk, it always falls in the same pattern, but it won't hit you as long as you don't move. And then I'm going to take a specific damage boost as the second phase starts, and hopefully not just sit through another cycle of this. Oh, that's not good. Please kill him. Okay, that's fine. I was worried about not finishing that phase in time, but that was kind of slow, but at least I finished it in one attempt. And then that guy dies, yeah. The guy just runs around. He actually surprisingly deals more damage than you'd expect, and as the explosion effects are happening from finishing off the mech, it's really easy to take an accidental hit from that guy because I don't even really know what happens. There's just a lot of particle effects playing, and the iframes don't really operate the way they should, so I take that start of that phase pretty safe and just boost into him for some guaranteed iframes, because, you know, I don't want to die. I could have taken an extra hit against him for better health management, but it's whatever. The more important thing is that we're alive and the run's continuing. Continuing into yet another auto-scroller section. Now, ironically, Stage 5 is... It doesn't really matter what difficulty you're playing in this game. One of the reasons that this game is particularly famous or well known within its own circles is that it's one of those games where it has a hard mode which really lives up to its name. in hard difficulty in this game, everything kills you in one hit. You start with 1 life, no continues, and everything kills you in 1 hit. So it's one of those cases where if you take a hit, it's game over. You can get the 1-ups through the game, but aside from that, like, you know, if you get hit, it's game over. Funny thing about this stage, though, is that after this auto-scroller section, when I get into the castle, even on easy difficulty, everything kills you in 1 hit anyway, so it's basically identical to doing a hard mode run. Which I think is pretty interesting. As it is, though, we've got a couple of mini-boss phases to deal with first, and because it's easy difficulty, I will be using damage boosting here, because that's actually afforded to me. Positioning here can be a little tricky to judge because I want to be inside his hitbox, but I also want to make sure that the actual sword projectile is hitting him every time it's fired as well. I actually was trying to take an additional hit there, but this isn't too bad. This isn't a bad health count. 4.5 hearts means that once I get to the actual boss of the stage, I can afford to take 2 hits, which could be a good thing if I'm going for dual exchanges. You'll see what I mean when we get there. So, now that we're into this part of the stage, you've got all this robot pig waves following me, and they will kill me instantly if they touch me. So, you've just got to outrun them. Which, if you know what to expect with these hallways, is pretty easy. The rocket boost can make you travel very, very quickly. So, I'm never actually in danger of dying here, unless I just release a boost completely incorrectly. Oh, I actually didn't expect to land on that. Nice. It's pretty fast. And now this hallway, I think, is pretty infamous among casual players. I think a lot of people probably struggled with this and died. If anything, this is the point of the game where, for the purpose of navigation and getting familiar with the movement system, this really forces you to get familiar with how diagonal boosts work. Using orthogonal boosts here is not a good way to traverse these corridors, but with diagonal boosts, it's super, super easy. These long, narrow sections in particular, if you try and do these with horizontal boosts, you'll find that it sends you a bit too far and you go straight back into the narrow section, which you then get crushed on. Alright, so let's see if I can demonstrate why hitboxes in this game don't really work. Yeah, hitboxes are a bit weird. I kind of messed that up as well. Oh well. There has to be one mistake in this run, right? That's relatively minor as far as mistakes go, at least. Because I can just use the platform again. Wow, okay. Let's concentrate here a bit. Let's give myself a little more room to work with. Oh my word. This is not a difficult jump. What am I doing? I'm jumping a little too early here. I need to wait until it's passed, do a full jump, and boost up once I start falling. That's the trick. I'm like, come on, that's not difficult, dude. Tricky game, but that of course means that I'm getting all the difficult stuff and messing up all the easy stuff. Another section here where I'm just going to be taking a bit of a break. You know, watch this run still be a 28. Like, with that absolute mess in that previous room, something that I should never mess up, watch this run still be a 28 and still be, like, relatively close to my PB or something. That is definitely coming. I can see it from a mile off. I'm going to finish with a really good end of run. It's going to be like, oh, this run's like 20 seconds off your PB. And I'll be thinking, alright, that's nice. I would have had a good PB if I hadn't just messed up something completely trivial. That's nice to know.
Would that make you more upset, or like give you hope that you can recover a run that's not the best at the end?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, honestly. I'm sure you know how it is. It's an abstract kind of feel. Alright, so yesterday I discovered a really risky strat here that saves about 1 second and loses about a minute if you get it wrong, so I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to do the simple strat. I say simple, that also kills you if you get it wrong and you still lose the minute, but it's at least simpler than the other strat. And it's about a second slower, so whatever. Alright, boss time, except I've got to run away from this boss and get to my own mech. This thing kills me immediately if it touches me. And I need to just get through here. This is another section which I think probably gave a lot of casual players a good deal of anxiety because, goddamn, is this intimidating? But once we're in the mech, hopefully this should be good. Now, I'm going to go for some dual exchanges here, or rather some early hits, and I'm hopefully going to trade blows with him a couple of times as he lunges towards me. Okay.
That was a lot of just getting hits without trading.
The first couple are pretty guaranteed as long as you don't miss the timing, but then after a few, he's still got a hit left. Alright, that's fine. He's tricking me, dude. He's tricking me, making me think he's down, and then I'm just not paying attention, and it's like, I'm gonna die if I don't move. I kinda need to do that. Oh. Don't speedrun, kids. Be a doctor or a lawyer. This is not good for your heart.
It can be stressful.
I mean, yeah. So, clearly the best thing to do now is go into the longest auto-scroller section of the game. Both a blessing and a curse at this point. This is my least favourite part of the game, but at least it's fairly low stress compared to what we were doing just there. Although, even though this is an auto-scroller, you can still speed this up pretty considerably. The gimmick of this stage is that there's lots of different enemy waves, but they don't start until everything is off-screen. So all of the enemies that I'm clearing off, I am needing to do that as soon as possible. And the health drops that they drop, I do need to pick those up as soon as possible as well. Otherwise the next wave just doesn't start until they're off-screen. Which can waste a lot more time than you'd expect.
That's most disappointing about the auto-scrollers is that we don't get the fan.
So for instance there with the apple drops, like getting those off screen as fast as possible was honestly a part of making this start sooner. And it's very easy to miss those apples. If you miss them you can't get them back, so you lose a bit of time. Did it again, nice, okay. This is really good execution so far on this stage. So now we get our rival, Axel Gear again, and he's just gonna kill those enemies for us. Very nice, thank you. Gonna go off screen, get in position, and just start wailing on him when he comes back. Please, sir. Alright. And now just kill these enemies. And now we're actually coming up to the boss, so yeah. That was a really good stage 6. What was that? I kind of wish I had my splits running, because this is probably gold split pace. I actually got all of the drop waves early, starting a lot of waves earlier than they should have been, and oh, I need to not die on the boss though. Like I'm saying, oh, I'm gonna get a gold split. I kind of still need to finish the stage. That's pretty important. So, see what we can do here. I have to do a lot of dodging here first. The game gives you ample opportunity to see what this airship is like. And then it's going to start teleporting around, and I'm eventually going to get the opportunity to attack it. I promise. It'll happen eventually. But I've got to hang out here in the corner for a little bit first. Alright, after the next teleport I can start attacking. Just need to get in position. This turret will open. That's fine. Don't necessarily mind that. Okay, go down please. Come up. Okay. So the health here, I'm going to dodge as much as possible through this final phase and then take one deliberate hit on the final phase. Hopefully the damage rounding doesn't screw me and make me lose all my remaining health in one hit and make me redo the entire boss fight. Okay, well now I'm not going to do it because that hit was actually completely unintentional. So now I'm actually going to have to dodge for the remainder of the fight. But there's 3 hits remaining on the boss. Does some static cycles and then I've got to hit that core as it comes out. It bounces around and I've just got to do 4 hits on that to finish the fight. Risky. Please, alright. And the top left corner here is thankfully a safe zone. It looks like it's not, but the hitboxes in this game can be a little weird sometimes. And by sometimes I mean most of the time. I'm really bad at judging that, wow. Alright, I really hope I don't choke and take an accidental hit here. Because I'll have to start the whole boss over again, as I said. Alright, I think we're good. Tough game. Yeah, I'm stressed out already. I'm gonna have to go and cry after this is over. But it's a good run, don't get me wrong. But coming into the final stage now, and aptly, it is the hardest stage. It is by far the hardest stage, and it has by far the hardest fight in the run. I'm going to be doing, like, definitely the hardest strat you can perform in this game. It's probably one of the hardest strats you'll have seen in this marathon. It's just ridiculous. So I'm going to not talk about what I'm about to do, and talk about the upcoming strat instead. We've got a fight with Axelgeir coming up, where it's divided into 3 phases, and for the first phase... Oh, please. So, right. So for the first phase, I'm going to use a really ridiculous strat. or I'm going to try and manipulate his AI into the corner, and I'm going to try and keep him locked down with the backswing hitbox from my sword. It's a very short pixel window to be able to line up and keep hitting him, and for each hit it's also, I believe, a 2-frame window from my testing. And every time you inflict damage on him, he moves left by 1 pixel, so you need to gradually reposition yourself as the fight is progressing. And it's really hard. So I'm going to 100% focus on this. The thing about this is I need more than 1 heart remaining at the end of this phase. Good start. That was so good, dude! Oh my god! That was so good! Alright. The fight is not over. There's still 2 more phases. Using audio cues here. Okay, I'm just going to wait for him to come around for a safe finish to phase 2. Now I need to go to the bottom to scroll the camera down, get myself in a certain position to line up the phase 3 quick kill. There we go. That was such a good fight. Oh my god. That's maybe the best fight I've ever gotten in a run. I'm not entirely sure. So, Hell Room. I can afford 1 accidental hit, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. We'll try the risky strat. Oh, that's why they call it a risky strat. This is a big risk. I tried to input on a lag frame. Oh well. Alright, we're just gonna play this super safe. See, that's what I was trying to do first time. I was trying to get a rebound, but not so lucky. It could have been that simple, dude. It could have been that simple. Fortunately, final boss is coming up, and super fortunately, it's actually a much easier fight than you'd expect. It's honestly one of the easiest fights in the whole run. If I'd entered this fight with, like, you know, half a heart remaining, 1 hit from death, within reason, I'd be pretty comfortable with that. Because the riskiest part of this fight is the very start of the fight. Because you have to hit this thing as it comes out, and it can, I mean, right there, it's like a hit. This thing doesn't seem to always come out in the same spot, and it can very easily mess you up. Anyway, phase 1 over. Now I'm going to do as little as possible, as in not hold a rocket charge, because that actually generates lag frames. I actually didn't know that until Vorpal pointed that out to me, so again, as I've said, kudos to him. Good bloke. Very good bloke. Let's go strats are always correct. So now when this phase starts, I'm going to wait for a certain time before jumping over him. The weak spot comes out on the opposite side from where you are at a certain point in his attack cycle. Like, it chooses a specific point to calculate where the weak spot's going to appear. So I'm basically manipulating where it's going to come out each time. One more hit for this phase. Alright. Now for this phase, I'm going to wait till he appears and boost diagonally into him, which is going to rebound me up through his hitbox so that I can hopefully hit the weak spots every time I go through. One of the nice things about this game is that I mentioned that you don't have control over Sparkster when you release a boost. That is true, but at the same time, after you release a boost, you are completely invulnerable to all forms of damage until you land on the ground. Whilst you are boosting and then whilst you're helpless, you cannot take damage. So that is as exploitable as it sounds. Alright. So, final phase here. Just need to do 4 very basic hits. It's just going to spawn on the bottom, on the opposite side from where I am. It's super elementary to hit these. So, of course I miss it. Going too early, dude. I'm too fast. Too fast for the speedrun. And I said final boss, final phase, etc. There is still a final chase sequence, but this is basically the end of the run. From here on out, there's like 2 significant inputs I can perform, timing the next boosts, and from there it is 100% auto-scroller. There's 1 more input I can perform to speed the game up. And that's the one, releasing the boost. From this point onwards, providing I don't die, the game is always going to take the same amount of time to finish from here, because it's just the final auto-scroller chase, so definitely not a bad run, all things considered. I'm looking at the stream now. I'm seeing that I'm like already at a 28, so this isn't going to be like close to PB. But I am not too unhappy with this run. This has been pretty good, all things considered. And we are about a minute from the end of the run, by the way. Oh, my estimate is 35. That's nice. I didn't know what my estimate was coming into this run. I hoped that it wasn't 30, but there we go. 35. That works. No, I'm not overestimate, rather. Yeah, I want to be underestimate. That's the point. Okay. So this is another part of the run where I'd be pretty comfortable playing this on hard difficulty, like the one-hit kill mode. As long as you just follow a couple of basic timing rules, you should never really take a hit against this thing. You literally just need to use left and right in this fight to avoid it. So the screen is going to turn red as we start burning up, entering the atmosphere. Boss is going to make a final desperate rush for me and explode. And time is going to be when the screen fades to white after the boss explodes. Which is coming up fairly shortly. Just one more dodge. And at this point I can't even take damage. Like, you have this animation of the boss coming down towards you and trying to hit you, but he doesn't even have a solid hitbox. Like, nothing can hurt you here. But we have time in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, just call it out for me.
Time.
Yeah, I did the start time at the start when you said it. So it started a little bit early, but that means that we ended it early, so that time should be accurate.
Okay, I mean, it's not a PB, so I don't exactly need to retime it, but as long as it's fairly close, it's looking like this is in the region of a 30, which I'm not too unhappy with, considering I wasted so much time in stage 5 in that one room that I shouldn't have. I'll just make that the reason for why this wasn't a sub 30, which I'll definitely take. In my opinion, any sort of sub 30 showing in this game for a marathon, with as much rust as I've got, I'm more than happy for that. So I do hope everyone enjoyed, and thank you guys very much for giving me this opportunity to run. I hope I did this game justice, and the community justice, of course, as well. This game has a surprisingly long and rich history. It's not a particularly huge game, it maybe should be, but the people who care about this game, like, really care about this.
We're going to switch over to this screen real quick, but I was corrected a little bit. Apparently I was told the story wrong. Apparently this was just a game that a lot of the viewers wanted to see and were disappointed that it wasn't in the lineup. So we threw it in a bonus stream just for that tie-in. And thank you so much.
Now you know why everyone wanted to see it.
Yeah, it was a great run. And thank you so much for running it for us. Just as a reminder, Frame Fatale submissions are open. You can go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatale and tune in tomorrow for an AGDQ preview show where they're going to be running The Last of Us. But there's one thing I noticed in chat all broadcast today when I was making people guess what game it is. A lot of people wanted to see Super Mario Bros. 3. So we're going to raid someone playing Super Mario Bros. 3. How's that sound? Does that work? I think that's a good compromise. So we'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to go raid Mitch Flower Power. Go cheer him on. Help him get that PB/world record, and we'll see you on Tuesday.